Sup guys, it's Kevin from the Get a Life podcast, and today we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch. As usual, I am joined by Bish.
Hello.
Joe.
It's a misunderstanding, we shouldn't be here.
And lastly, Jordan.
What's up, guys?
Fun fact, Jordan is actually replacing Joe, so that's why Joe's not supposed to be here, but he's coming in.
Whoa, really?
You aren't supposed to tell him that.
No one knows. No one knows yet.
Too soon. Okay.
I'm currently being trapped in a remote area in the UK. Please send help.
Never.
Please send Timbits.
Little bit.
Anyways, for those of you who don't know much about the Nintendo Switch, it is Nintendo's 7th major video game console, home console that is, and it is a new hybrid console combining features of home and mobile platforms, and it released on the 3rd of March 2017. So at the time of this recording, it's been, just over a month, about a month and a week since the Switch has launched. So you may be wondering, why are we doing this and why are we doing this now, right? Well, the question is, why would you not do this, right? It's a product from Nintendo, right? It is the Nintendo Switch, and it's a major release, right? And it will undoubtedly affect the industry, and a lot of people are going on to buy it, so it cannot not cover it, right?
Yeah.
Also, after the Wii U, and to a certain extent the Wii, a lot of people in the gaming community, both core and casual, including myself, I can speak for myself, I think that everyone here as well, was kind of skeptical about Nintendo after the blunders of the Wii U. Now, as interesting as it was, it's an objective fact that it didn't do well. So we want to talk about the Switch and everything leading up to it and the launch. So without further ado, before we get into the discussion itself, Bish?
For you new folks, Get Life Podcast is a monthly gaming discussion podcast on the Get Life group. We talk about a bunch of games, including AAA titles all the way to the awesome indie games. But our forte is Japanese games, so expect that a lot. We will be talking about a lot of Japanese games in the future. We'll be found on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play Music. Remember, if you want to join in on the fun, you can follow us on Twitter at GetALifePodcast, that's one word, or on our newly designed website, GetALifePodcast.com. If you go on our website, there'll be reviews, there's going to be, you can find all of our links there, and all of our kunai stuff as well, if you want to check out kunai. Additionally, if you really like our content, and you're like, ooh, I really want to support you guys, I want to make sure you make more awesome content, then you can support us by checking out our sponsors, Loot Crate. So if you go to lootcrate.com/getalife, sign up for yourself on your Loot Crate. That's going to support us a lot. Thank you very much for that. And Kevin?
All right, guys. So as I said, one of the things that really affected the way that Nintendo approached the Switch and that the community as a whole approaches and views the Switch were the previous consoles, right? Which were the Wii and the Wii U. Yeah. And as we all know, it's common knowledge that the Wii was initially successful, right? But overall, they kind of left a bad taste in everyone's mouth by the end of their life cycles, right? So I just want to talk about what are your thoughts on those consoles, right? Do you own them? Do you play on them? And why were they failures, more specifically?
Okay, I want to jump in straight to that. I'm a person that I was a big fan of the Wii. I think that after the PlayStation 2 era, the Wii was the first console that I got before PS3 or Xbox 360, and I still own the Wii. I don't own a Wii U, but I'll talk about why I don't own a Wii U and why I thought that was a failure. I think for me, there was a lot of confusion with the Wii U and about, I thought it was kind of like an accessory. I thought, okay, it's just a screen for the Wii. I don't need that. Kind of like Wii Motion Plus. I don't need that to play games, right? And I think it was potentially a lot of people in the UK or around the world also felt the same way. So I think the marketing was a big issue with the Wii U. People just were confused. They were like, is this a new console? Is this just an expansion pack? Or what the hell is this? People didn't know exactly what it was, and I felt it was just marketed wrongly. In terms of the Wii, though, I thought it was just a great console. And to me, I don't want to see any faults with it. But there was a lot of problems. There was problems with adding friends. That was a pain in the ass.
Friend codes.
This is the thing.
Are the worst.
They're still there on the Switch. That's another thing. That's something we can talk about. But
I don't know what they're thinking. Nintendo, if you're listening, you need to ditch that system. It's not 2007 anymore. Fuck. I mean, Xbox Live was out.
It's
Yeah,
weird, man. I don't know
like-
why. What's this whole friend code thing? I'm not, is it on the DS as well?
Maybe it's
or-
the sign that Nintendo sees
Yeah.
the world as data on the screen.
It's maybe. I don't know what the hell Nintendo were thinking when with this whole friend code thing. It's just very tedious. But
It's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But this is
Yeah,
like
like
the
on-
third time
no,
the Switch
it's
that's
the
happened,
fourth
right?
time.
It's like,
'cause
No, like
on
on
the fourth,
DS,
the DS,
though, I'm
actually,
really-
yes.
I do have to admit, I was really glad when they moved to Nintendo Network and to the Wii U, they pretty much ditched friend codes. Like, you could just add friends, and it was a lot more convenient. It's like
But why would they bring them back from the Wii U? Like the
well, they
the,
said it was
the
temporary.
one thing that was probably
They said it was
successful
temporary
about
until
the
the
Wii
new
U.
application comes out.
Wow. Well, but we'll
Yeah,
see about
because
all
they're
that,
actually
to
releasing
be
an
honest.
app
man.
that should eliminate the need for friend codes.
well, let's hope it comes soon. Right?
We'll see how that
It's
works,
still,
really.
It's still in its infancy
This
right now.
Nintendo.
For me, with the Wii, what I did kind of like about it was the fact that it was new. Nintendo are very great in terms of innovation, and I know I shit on Nintendo a lot, but I can't stress this enough. When Nintendo does something, a couple of years later, everyone wants to jump on that trend.
They're like the old Apple of the industry.
Effectively, yes. They introduced the Rumble packs in the N64, and now they're everywhere in consoles. They introduced analog sticks, and now they're everywhere. They introduced shoulder buttons on the SNES. They introduced motion, and the Kinect has that now. The PlayStation VR has that shit. So they're basically innovators, and I don't know, maybe the Wii U wasn't really an innovation to me. It was just like
It was
okay.
elaborating.
This
on
feels
the
like a
Wii
prototype.
and try to do something different at the same time, but it
effectively.
ultimately failed.
Although I
Yeah.
do like how you were able to use the same sort of accessories. Like I was still able to use the Wiimotes and the nunchucks and the Pro controllers and things like that. I thought that was cool.
Oh no, that was very helpful because like at that time it was very hard to like pay for all those like controllers and accessories, so it was good that I could just use my old Wii peripherals and my Wii remotes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I see what you guys mean, but I have to disagree. I mean, it's certainly helpful that you don't have to buy all of that shit again. It's like a transitioning from PS3 to PS4 or an Xbox 360 to an Xbox One. But like you said, Bish, right? Marketing was friggin' terrible with the Wii U, and to a certain extent with other platforms as well. Because some guy at Nintendo decided that new Nintendo 3DS was a good name, right? But alas, if you think about it, I think that the fact that the Wii U could use the Wii remotes is actually detrimental because it just only adds to confusion, right? People are like, oh, this is just the tablet's an add-on or something, right? So casual consumers are even more confused by the fact that it shares a lot
All
of
the same
hardware similarities.
On one hand, it's very good that you don't have to spend much money to get new controllers for your Wii U. But on the other hand, like it all comes back down to how the controller was named. Well, not
The
the
system.
console. The console
Oh,
was
yeah.
named.
Even when they first showed it, it only shows the tablet and you having the Wiimote hitting a golf ball off the tablet and Wii Sports. I remember watching that first press conference. I'm like, so it's a add-on?
Yeah.
No, I remember like back in 2011, I think it was announced. It's like they were showing just the controller and they were showing like the Wii remote. I'm like, is this a tablet or is this a new console?
So even for the core community, it was confusing, right? So casual consumers were really lost. I mean,
Well, granted, I was like I was really young around that time. I think I was like 13.
But the thing
around
is,
that time.
like,
it was a wee lad.
But I remember everyone being confused.
Yeah, but even then, even when I was like still in my like hardcore Nintendo fanboy phase, I thought like even I was a
yeah,
little
but
confused.
that's
What is this?
that's
I'm excited for it.
understandable,
What
right?
is it?
Because a lot of people that owned the Wii U or the original Wii were very young. I was
Yep.
I was around that age when I had my Nintendo Wii. So when the Wii U came out, I was still quite young. So I was like, what the hell's this? Like, is this an expansion? What is this? So I understand. I don't think that is necessarily an excuse for like the Wii U.
You know, like I will never feel the same way about a console that I did with the Wii. Like when I was really young at the time. I think I got my Wii when I was around 10 or 11. Like this, I was just really happy waiting for it to like come in the mail. Like I was like waiting in like my daycare, like well not daycare. Like
How young were you? Just 4 years old.
I was only 11, but they couldn't take me anywhere.
No, it was like
They sent me to a daycare.
It was my after school care. It was like back when I was still in middle school.
Oh, like an after school club,
care.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I would always ask my mom like, did it come in Amelia? Did it come in Amelia? Like I was really excited. So, like I really want to play Mario. Like I really want to play Super Mario Galaxy. I want to play
Mario
Mario
Galaxy
8. Like,
was
really
the best
excited.
game ever.
No, like I tried it out at a kiosk, and my little like my inner child was just blown away. Like I was like, I want this game immediately. This is so good.
I remember like being like that for the fucking Game Boy Advance because that shit.
Because it was so revolutionary. Like it was like it was like
The Wii U?
breathtaking.
No, the Wii.
No,
The
the
Wii.
Wii.
Yeah, yeah.
Like back in the time.
Well,
at
I
the
think
time.
what was
It
the great
like,
appeal for the Wii was that everyone can play. Grandma can play. Your mum can play. You know,
Yeah.
your dog
I
can
remember,
play.
I remember those old commercials. I remember those commercials when like the guys like it was like a Mario Party 8 commercial, for example. When they'd go up to your door, they'd hold the Wii remote in their hands.
We like to
we
play,
would
play.
like to play.
That's kind of creepy.
Well,
Imagine someone
you
going
know-
up to your door with a Wii remote. I would like to play. We would like to play. That would be a bit creepy, right? I wouldn't let
I
a
mean,
guy in my
Let's
house.
take that Wii out of their hands. Mine now.
Yeah. Well, the Wii certainly had some good points. Like we said, marketing was one of the weak points. And another weak point that I think was really relevant to it failing, and well,
No
actually it applies to the
third-party
Wii as well. Third-party support definitely was one of them because, and I think it's just a problem recently with Nintendo consoles, right? With the Wii U had, if I remember correctly, a rather weak launch. There were a few first-party titles, but it was rather sparse. And the months after that as well, there weren't any major titles that were completely new that really wanted you to buy the console. There wasn't any Breath of the Wild for the Wii U in my opinion,
Even like the
right?
third-party support that was there was just like, hey, look, all these cool games that are on the other systems that are like, but now they're like 5-6 months old.
Effectively.
It's like if you played it, if you want to play it, you already own it.
It's not
Exactly.
just that. Like the third-party support felt like shovelware.
Yeah.
And I think the reason behind that is
Yeah.
because not all developers
No, there's not much effort
not all
into it.
developers were given the opportunity by Nintendo to be like, hey, there's a proper introduction to our console. Here's the dev. Like, yes, they were given dev kits, right? But I don't think they really understood how to take advantage of the console. Obviously, Nintendo would know more, hence why their games would be better.
Yeah,
right?
it's
I always
just
thought
because
like, if that system was stronger, I always thought it'd be cool if like, for example, like Fallout, if the system was stronger, playing Fallout and your Pip-Boy is down the screen, I always thought that'd be something that was cool, but the system wasn't really strong enough for that.
yeah, that's another thing, right?
It's just that they didn't really care. It's like in the industry, like you're constantly like you're always on the fly. You can't stop and like try to like
Yeah.
lower your strengths just because of a console.
And like
Yeah.
That's true.
focus just on one gimmick and one system that no one else can use. and
That's the
others.
problem with the Wii and the Wii U, right? Because Nintendo, they know their own console. They know what features to take advantage of. And, we see that in their games, that they implement the features of the Wii and the Wii U very well. When it comes to third-party support, people, because it's so different from, the PC platform, from the Xbox and PlayStation platforms, they aren't as familiar with it, right? And consequently, the games are usually less well suited for the.
Especially now with the PS4 and the Xbox One, their architectures are very similar to PC. So you can just be developing one game effectively for the PS4, and you don't have to worry about porting it over to Xbox One and PC because it's effectively the same, right? But if you're going to be worrying about a Wii U port, especially if it's older hardware or whatever, it's like that's a pain in the ass. Nintendo just make it difficult to develop games for their consoles. I don't know why.
Another thing that you brought up, Jordan, that I really like and I agree with is, the specs are such a problem, which is because of the timing of release, right? The Wii came out before the 360 and the PS3, if I remember correctly. The Wii U came out before the 8th gen of consoles, right? And
But it
so
was
what
like a
that
whole
means
year and a
that-
half before then too.
Yeah, exactly. It was a sizable margin.
It's
So what that means is
weird
that,
though. It's like for me when I see it, it's like if they released the Nintendo Wii at the same time as like around PS2, there's no I think that would have changed gaming. I don't think PlayStation would be as popular as they are now. And I feel that the Wii U, if they released it around 360 time and PS4, it would PS3, they would have stood a chance. They would have, to be honest.
it's just the fact that when you release something early, right, the tech that you have at that time simply isn't as advanced as what your competitors have if they release later. So in terms of the hardware, the hardware, they were really limited in terms of the power, right? And again, I'll repeat myself, graphics aren't everything, but you can't use that as an excuse to sell people an underpowered console, which the Wii and Wii U were.
It's very strange. It's like with the Wii U, it's like between the specs of the 360.
That's the problem, though, right?
Like the 360 PS3 and the PS4 Xbox One, and like the Switch is kind of similar. It's like it's between. Well, I mean,
it is more powerful than the Wii U, to my knowledge, but it's not quite eighth. It's not up there with PS4 and the Xbox One,
which could also hurt it with long third-party support again.
Well,
exactly.
It's like it's very interesting though, because it isn't like unique hardware. It's NVIDIA hardware.
That's the thing. That's where it gets interesting, right? Because I saw this thing where they opened up the Nintendo Switch, and normally Nintendo kind of mark their chipsets, and they're like, even if it's someone else's chip, they'll write Nintendo over it. But it makes me think that they've struck a deal with NVIDIA or something like that, and especially because that Tegra processor, like they use that for like the NVIDIA Shield, and you can stream PC games to it. It makes me think: are we going to see that in the future? Are we going to see like native game streaming for games that the Switch can't handle? That's what I'm saying.
That the thing that worried me about the Wii and the Wii U is that, because your hardware isn't as powerful, your games can't run the same games, right? As Jordan says, you can't have Fallout 4
No, you can't.
on the Wii or Wii U. You can't have Battlefield or so that's why they always have the crappy ports, like I'm thinking the Call of Duty ports to the Wii.
Don't
right?
remind me of those.
Yeah,
they were like the
they had
shit.
the ports.
They're complete shit, right?
Even the
So-
DS
Have you
ports.
guys
They
ever
don't even have
seen
the
the Sonic?
They don't even have the DLC for people who like want all the future
Yeah.
stuff.
Have you guys ever seen the Sonic Unleashed port for?
I own that.
For
I
Wii?
own that.
No, I didn't.
Thankfully, no.
It's so different from
Is
the
it?
original game.
I
that it's
love
insane.
that game
Yes.
on the Wii. I don't know
Okay, so
why.
let me talk about some differences. So in the Wii version, you know how it's kind of like point and click when you're in
Yeah.
towns. In the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions, it's actually an overworld that you walk.
Oh, is
through.
it? So it's like Persona 3 and Persona 3 Portable, right?
No, you actually like walk through the world like with 3D models and such.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's not like point and click and shit.
And another difference,
Oh.
there's an entire area that they just left
What?
out of the Wii version.
Are you serious? Oh,
Yeah. Like the missions, the areas, like the overworld, the final boss, like oh
Now-
my god, they changed so
Now you're
much
making
about
me
it. It's
feel that I got the
insane.
shittier version of the game. I was
You
so
did.
excited.
It's an
for
objective fact, Bish. That
I mean,
the Wii
You
U.
got the shit.
the
ports
Wii
and the Wii
version.
ports
The Wii
were-
version is the worst version usually.
But
for
let's be
third-party
real.
stuff.
It's something that annoys me the
At
most.
that time, I didn't own a
It's-
PS3
no,
or,
like-
or Xbox 360, so you can't blame me, right?
The final boss is so different too. Like they changed some of the music.
Why?
They changed the
Why would they
fights
change the
completely.
music? Doesn't make sense.
I mean, because if you listen to the final boss music in the PS3
Yeah.
and Xbox 360 versions, it's completely different from when you're listening it to the.
Was it like an earlier build
for
of the
some
game,
reason-
and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're just too
And
lazy."
for some reason, the final boss, like slight spoilers, Dark Gaia. If you didn't know
Whoa,
that
I haven't
already.
finished the game, Joe. You spoiled the whole game for me.
For some reason, he's green in the Wii version when you're fighting.
You
as
know
the
what
final
makes me
boss.
think, Joe? It makes me think that Sega were like super pressured, and they just released a development version of the game. That's what, or an early build. That's what makes me think, especially these changes that you're saying.
No one's gonna buy the Wii version. Just release it out there. Besides Bish.
That's
He's the
what
one who buy the
they
Wii
did.
version.
That's what I think they did.
Well-
I'm the only guy that bought it.
I'm sorry to break it to you, Bish, but when they port over games, multi-plat games, to the Wii, the only market that they're trying to get are the sad people who only have a Wii and nothing else
you're
and can't
so
afford to
mean.
get it on any other console.
Well,
Well, it's true though. It's true.
I had the option of getting a PlayStation 3, and my mum said this, and she was like it was my sister and my mum. They were at Tesco, and they were like, "Ooh, yeah, they wanted the Wii." But my mum was like, "No, don't get them the Wii. Get them the PS3, man. They already got PS2. Makes sense to get them PS3." And it was just like, man, my mum was right. I should have just got the PS3 a lot earlier. I should have. But
That's why you listen to your mom, Bish.
my mum is like super pro gamer, right?
On a different note, to make Sega know that I don't hate their guts, Sonic Forces looks really good. I'm probably buying that day one.
Is it going to be like Sonic Boom?
It's made by the same guys who made Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations.
Generations is the best game of the last gen. Sonic.
You know, my favorite Sonic game, and I know this is it's unrelated, but my favorite Sonic game is Sonic Heroes. That was a good game.
I love Sonic Heroes, dude.
Best fucking game of all time.
So we've talked quite a bit about the Wii and Wii U. Obviously, you know, I think everyone here had the Wii, right? Lots of good memories from it. It was fun initially, but you know, it got gimmicky over time, right? Amongst other problems. Joe got it on launch week.
I bought a Wii U like launch week, and like I was like, because I'm so excited, I'm gonna play Nintendo Land. I'm gonna play what was the other game? I was gonna play Scribblenauts Unlimited. It's gonna be great. And then 6 months later, I'm like for 6 months, I'm like, what do I do?
The Wii U was literally a waste of my money.
The thing is, I want to get Wii U for Mario Kart 8, but then at the same time, Switch got
It's
that
coming
as well.
to the fucking Switch. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude, get it on the Switch, because the Switch is gonna have a battle mode that's actually good. It isn't like half-assed and throwing in for extra content.
Yeah. There's practically no reason to get a Wii U at this point.
But it should be super cheap now, so it's like, I could do that.
Not nope, not worth it.
Is it?
Not even fucking
I
worth it.
want to
in my
buy it
opinion.
off like Craigslist for like a
I don't know.
$1.50.
Bayonetta 2 exists. Well, the Bayonetta 2 is still on the Wii U, so.
But you know, we've talked a lot about the Wii and the Wii U. Let's move on to the Nintendo NX, as it was called back then, right? Because you know, it was announced while the Wii U was struggling, right? Everyone knew it was struggling. It was already dying, right? So I just want to get your thoughts and opinions on your reactions to these rumors that are going around about, you know, the Nintendo NX being this handheld console, supposedly having these detachable controls, right, and being less powerful than the Xbox One and PS4.
My first thought when it being less powerful was, oh god, they're gonna mess it up again, aren't they?
Yep. Basically, I was like, they're going to release it early again, just like the Wii and the Wii U, and it's going to be the Wii U Part 2, and it's going to be fucking sad. It's going to be a shit show. That was my first reaction.
And the
here's the
handheld
thing,
part
if
made me think of the Wii U tablet.
Well, the handheld part I found was interesting because I was like, oh my god, I would love like gaming on the go, right? Because the Vita tried to market that, and I love my 3DS and all that, but it's limited in terms of hardware, right? So I was like, if they could sell me a solid handheld console with the power of a home console, I'm down. But it's just the launch window made me really worried.
The way I thought about it, like when they talked about NX, I was like, oh, so this is the successor to 3DS. That's what I assumed, right? Because I thought, okay, if it's going to be slightly like less powerful than PS4, but it's going to be like this portable thing, and then I'm like, okay, there's a future of portable gaming. That's what I thought about it, but I didn't really think too much into it, because I didn't want to get like too hyped for something and then buy it and then be like, oh, what the fuck is this? Because I did kind of get tricked like that before, so I didn't want anything to do with it. I didn't even look at any of the Nintendo Directs or anything like that. Even the reveal, I did not even watch the reveal, so it was like, I didn't want anything to do with the NX. I knew it existed, I just didn't want to know any more info.
You know what? Like for a time, I thought like they were gonna like pull some bullshit. Like it's like once they finally announced the NX, it's just gonna slowly reveal the 3DS and Wii U and like a power booster.
No,
It's just like the NX was here this entire time.
Oh man, that sounds even worse. That would, I actually would. Even though that sounds terrible, I would love to see how they would have done something like that. It would have been fun to watch
hilarious to me,
everything.
dude.
I should do that for April Fools, Nintendo.
No, but like seriously though, like when I initially heard the name NX, I think it was during E3 2015, and like the thing is, I don't remember exactly how I thought about the NX, but when they talk about the NX and then show one of the worst E3 conferences I've ever seen, then it doesn't actually give me high hopes about Nintendo in the future.
Yeah.
This is a little off topic, but I just did not like that conference. Like, the games they showed were interesting. It's like there were some games that I really wanted to buy. Like Paper Jam, I was really excited for because Mario and Luigi and Paper Mario are two of my favorite game series of all time. And it's like, so I was really excited to see like a crossover sorts. So like there were a couple games that I saw. But when I saw like games like Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, I'm like, why would you advertise this?
Yeah, Nintendo is super weird at E3 recently, with the way they approach it. It's just so unorthodox.
Because I was so excited, like Animal Crossing on the Wii U. Oh my god! And then I see Amiibo Fest. I'm like, oh, it's a board game. Okay. The only like Yoshi's Woolly World, like Star Fox, and Mario & Luigi Paper Jam were some of the only things I saw interesting in that conference. Everything else just, it was just so weak. There wasn't anything I was like, oh, you absolutely need to buy this Wii U.
You know what annoyed me about that was that around that time there was like Amiibo, and it was like, what the hell is all of this? Like, I hate this. Like, I hate everything to do with it. It just like, it's this shitty Nintendo Skylanders thing. I was like, stop.
So no, so the thing that sucks about Amiibo right now is I've seen how like the new Zelda game uses every single Zelda Amiibo, and it's like that's a lot of DLC to buy to go out there and hunt down all these toys.
Well, I think like a lot of it was just extra. Like I think it was like one gives you hearts or something. Like I don't think it was like
ridiculous though, because you're gonna have to search for all if you are a completionist, right? You have to search for all of these Amiibo. Some of them are discontinued, and you can't get them anymore. And you just have to go and buy, like, sell one of your kidneys to get one. It's like, really, Nintendo, for shitty pieces
honestly,
of plastic?
I think it's probably the strategy that they're going for. I think they were counting on those types of gamers to buy these Amiibos. Just
but at the
because
same
of their
time,
value.
there are such things called Amiibo cards, which work in the same way as Amiibos. Why can't they just do, hey, look, you can buy the Amiibo if you want to be like this super collector, or you can buy these cards that work in the same way and have the same NFC chips. I would do that.
At that point, why even do... Yeah, just do it digitally then, like normal DLC, instead of having... The only reason you'd get an Amiibo, in my opinion, the advantage. Yeah. Yeah, because figure sell, right? If you're just going to sell me a shitty chip...
Amiibos were necessary. Well, not necessary, but they did play a big part in.
I don't know. In Animal Crossing's case, I think like it made a little more sense because like it's kind of like a Pokemon trading card.
Exactly.
Game,
yeah.
You want cards from every.
It's also the same with Smash Brothers. Like if you wanted to like take your character around with friends and stuff, you can just bring your Amiibo. And I think it would make more sense if I just bring my an Amiibo card as opposed to a full-on figurine.
But I do have to say though, the Super Mario 30th anniversary Amiibos were amazing.
Those are cool.
I can't deny that.
Yeah.
Like I have the classic one, and, like just sitting.
But I
now.
personally don't see the point, because if you're going to be it's like you're collecting shitty McDonald's toys. That's what an Amiibo is to me.
God damn.
Whoa.
Hey, I mean, you ain't wrong.
Shots fired.
You're not wrong.
Okay.
They're pretty cheap.
As a casual Amiibo collector, I'm offended.
As a casual collector,
Casual.
Well, because
my pants are riddled.
When I buy an Amiibo, I expect to get a Happy Meal with it. Like, that's what it feels like.
I collect Amiibos. I don't get all of them though. Like I'm not trying like rush.
I've only bought a couple. The Mario one, Sonic, and the Yarn Yoshis.
The Yarn Yoshi one's great too. It's actually made out of yarn, and like
I remember I bought Yarn Yoshi the game because I wanted Yarn Yoshi, and I bought the pink and blue one after that. It was just so cool looking.
and then they sold the jumbo Yarn Yoshi.
I wanted that, but that's the example of one that's really hard to find.
That was expensive as hell too. But anyway, like I didn't mean to go off on too much of a tangent. The point is like, well, after I heard about the NX, like it definitely did stick into my mind like for a long time. Like, what is the NX? It's very mysterious. It's like, what could it imply? Like, does it already exist?
So you wanted to
Or,
find
like,
out more,
something
essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like I was really curious because like they just mentioned the name, and like they didn't mention it much after until like October.
A lot of people got kind of information from the patent, like the patents and all of the filings for their copyright and stuff, like because they could...
Yeah, it's just like it was hard to really trust it all because there was conflicting facts.
Well, yeah, when a company has ideas and when submitting them for like copyright review, they have to submit a bunch of them in case someone just steals their idea and they're like, okay, we can't use that idea anymore. So one of those ideas will become the main thing, but you're just clouded by everything else, and you're like, okay, maybe it could be this, but maybe it could be that. But one of those things out of that whole like patent what's it called form, one of them will be the real thing. That's just fact, right?
Well, in the end, I was really happy that ended up being like a console handheld hybrid. Like that definitely has a lot of potential, in my opinion.
Yeah, but speaking of the console and handheld hybrid, they revealed exactly that in October, right? Just a couple of months ago, actually, right? So, honestly, for me at least, it was a complete fucking bombshell when they released that video, because I knew that they're going to release it soon in that time period, but I was, at school chilling with some friends, and then, I got called over, right, and we watched the video together. I remember all of us were losing our fucking minds because the way that they presented it was, in my opinion, it was not only professional, right? Because it's not that aspect that really hit me. It was the fact that, you know, it was a handheld console. We knew that before, but just the way they presented it, showing you how many different ways you could use this console, you know, on the TV, as a tablet, or, you know, on the plane, you know, at the court,
Rooftop
you know,
parties.
Anywhere you wanted. It's like it made me go, I want this fucking thing right now.
The thing, I think they were very professional in their marketing. It wasn't like the stupid Wii adverts that was like, Dun. You know that one that was just
in a single trailer, they already fixed what they already did what they did wrong with the Wii U correctly.
It was like
they fixed it.
There was redemption within that, and the fact that there was that clicking sound, so satisfying. I'm like, hell yeah! The console. Fun fact: the console doesn't make that sound, no matter how hard you try. But it was just.
It makes it when the system's turned on.
Well, that's just from the splash screen. But I'm saying putting those controllers together doesn't make that sound. But it was great. It was.
Imagine if you use the actual sound in the marketing. It was just a shitty, mediocre click sound. It's it's super silent. You can barely hear it. You know, like.
But like I said, that sound did play a big part in it because it was every time they would transition from one use to another. There was always that sound, and there was always that. It was great.
It was like a slogan for the Switch, right?
It was, and I think
a click, and when you heard it, you thought of it.
And it's great because Japanese marketing is not the best. We know that. Like, we see Sony fuck up a lot in terms of their marketing campaigns, and Nintendo as well. But they've kind of it felt like a westernized advert, right? It didn't feel like this wacky Japanese advert. Like, oh yeah, it was very professional, and I did think it kind of generated a lot of hype, especially for me.
I think for a lot of people as well, we're super excited by this novel concept, right?
I was super excited, but my first thought was, I want Pokemon on that.
There's a rumor that they're releasing Pokemon Stars on the Switch.
I'm gonna be honest,
which is
I only own handhelds because of Pokemon, and I will buy a Switch instantly if Pokemon comes out because
they said they'd only release. They said they'd only release Pokemon on handheld.
I know.
It's a clever way to say it's coming on the Switch.
We have a main series game with console graphics.
This is an interesting question, right? Do you think that would cannibalize their own market? Like, for example,
the Switch?
Yeah, because you just mentioned it now. You said the only reason you own handhelds for Pokemon. But do you think if they created Pokemon games on Switch, wouldn't that cannibalize their own market? The people that are buying 3DSs
I
or 2DSs?
will redirect that at you, actually, Bish, because I don't think so. But I'll redirect the question at you. Why do you think it would? Why do you think it would cannibalize?
Because, as Jordan was saying, it's like he just said, I only buy portable consoles for Pokemon. So if Pokemon was on Switch and they continue to create Pokemon on Switch alongside, the 3DS and blah 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 releases, what's the reason to buy it on the 3DS anymore if you can just buy it on the Switch?
Well, it's the same reason why what's the reason of buying a DS to play Pokemon games and you just buy a 3DS?
Well, the thing is,
they're not released on alongside. Pokemon games are not released on alongside 3DS and the original DS. You see what I mean? Don't you think it would just cannibalize their own order? Because I personally would just be like...
Unless they treat the Switch as a full-on handheld after a while. And just no, we're not making a DS type of thing. We're just going to have this be the console/handheld.
It's kind of like Persona 5. I don't want to bring Persona 5 into this, but Persona 5 is released on PS3 and PS4. If you own both consoles, why would I buy it on PS3 when I own a PS4? Do you see what I mean? It's that sort of thing.
You're approaching this from the wrong angle, I think, Bish, because what you're talking about is the same game on two different console generations, right? I thought you meant the mainline Pokemon series continues on the DS, but they also have a new, different games.
No. I'm talking about the same game.
I think it would be a waste. I'll be honest, it's a complete waste.
If Pokemon Stars truly does exist, that's effectively the same game. It might have
why'd you have a mobile DS port on the Switch? It's completely pointless, right? Because at the end of the day, the game that will come out of that will be defined by the 3DS because it's the weaker console, right? So they wouldn't. For me, it'd be a complete waste of time and resources because I can fucking play my 3DS at home on my goddamn bed on my couch as well.
Yeah, but maybe some people want to play it on a big screen. I don't know, right?
I was just thinking like
3DS TV, anyone?
If the main series jumps onto Switch, then I'll get Switch. If it's just the same game on both, I'm not buying a Switch for Pokemon.
All right.
I doubt it'll jump because
I think it will be the case like with the Wii, and like where they release a game like Pokemon Battle Revolution,
What a waste of time that was.
and they released like Pokepark 2.
I thought Battle Revolutions was pretty cool actually because you could link your
Yeah, I
DS.
played that. It
What
was-
about
it
was
Pokken
nice.
tournament?
Oh my god, best joke, Pokken
They're
tournament.
probably gonna port it. What do you mean best joke? It's actually a good game.
I'm sure it is.
Wasn't it an arcade
Moving
game?
on, from. Sorry, I don't know.
No, it's actually
Pokken.
really good. Like, have you
It
heard
looks awesome, the
the
graphics.
theme for?
I've never
Yeah,
played
just
it.
'cause the
It
game
looks
looks
nice,
good
but
doesn't mean
it
it's a
just
good
the
game.
support for that game has been fucking laughable. But
The
I
game
won't get
came
into
out,
Pokken too much.
and then nothing ever came out after that. It was just like, here it is, enjoy the game.
They're releasing Empoleon soon, not on the Wii U, but like for the arcade version.
Who cares about
Okay.
the arcade version over here?
Yeah, because we don't get the arcade
Yeah.
version. That's only Japan.
Yeah.
You enjoy
Well,
that, people.
But have
Uh,
you heard the theme? Have you heard the theme for the Magikarp theme? What's it called? The Magikarp Festival theme. It is just hardcore dubstep.
Well,
It's
you'd be
crazy.
the only one that knows that, Joe, because you're the only one that pay attention to the game.
Joe is the one person in North America that still follows Pokken.
He's kind of like me. I'm the only person that owns Sonic Unleashed on the Wii. Joe's the only person that pays attention to Pokken tournament.
This is my personal request. You guys have to. This is your challenge. You have to go on YouTube, search Magikarp Festival, listen to the full 30 minutes, and then go on my Twitter and thank me later.
Well, I remember the was it the
What if it's terrible and I want to thank you?
It's gonna be amazing. Trust
I
me.
remember the
It's like-
Lucario theme was pretty badass. I almost said Lucio for a second. I was like, wait, wrong game.
Lucio.
But
Lucio, the brand new Pokemon.
Boost.
the Lucario theme was pretty badass. But
Are we still talking
No, you
about
did
this
show it
game
to
that
us.
no one plays?
yeah, let's just move on. I'm sorry, Joe. If you want, we can have a Pokken tournament episode. That Joe will be the only person to listen to that episode.
He's
He
also
will
the
be
only person recording as well. No.
I don't know why you guys are treating it like shit. It's actually a good
Yeah, a
game.
good game that no one plays.
PSA to our listeners: if you guys want to have a 2-hour-long episode covering Pokken tournament where Joe is the only one talking,
April Fool's,
please
man.
message us,
That'll be the
and it will
best April Fool's episode.
it will happen.
It'd be
Okay,
Oh,
next
Joe.
year
it'd be a self-cast.
for April
You're
Fools.
just getting ripped apart, and I love it.
You know, if a tree falls in the woods, would anyone hear it? If
If Pokken was revived in the West, would anyone play it?
Yeah.
I don't know. But we've gone full Tyson on Pokken. I don't think it's fair. Okay,
this is Tyson's Yozora. This is what it is.
We'll all finally meet up, and Joe be like, "Come to this room. There's an arcade set." I went to Japan for this. I came back,
He spent
and now you're all
like
gonna play it.
$7,000 on this arcade cabinet.
All right. Well,
What have I
now
done
that
with
you
my
guys have
life?
finished crushing my spirits, we should move on.
Yeah. Joe's just like it. Can we not make fun of Pokken
now
anymore?
now you know
please?
how I feel, Joe, about this whole Yozora thing on Haganite.
No, it isn't just Pokken. I just treasure
It's just,
like the Pokemon.
just straight up
spin-offs.
bullying right
They have a
now.
special place in my heart. Like I've played all of Pokemon Ranger, for example. Like I love that series to death. And when people trash it, I just die inside.
Do you know what we need? Another XD type of game.
Oh, XD. I've wanted to play XD.
Dude, I put I put like 200 hours into that back in the day.
Anyways, let's move on from Pokken to the January presentation, right? 'Cause it actually, in my opinion, I was quite shocked that how fast things are going because they revealed it in October and then boom, January the Sunlight presentation and then
I thought it was
boom,
pretty
March.
slow, to be honest. It was
Right.
like, here's a trailer. Wait a while to even see one more thing.
Yeah, I found the January presentation was a bit weird in the sense that they showed off the console and they showed off whatever, but they didn't tell us what was the specs.
But that's normal though for the reveal, right? They-
I know,
mean,
but the game was
never
coming out
tell.
in March. The console was coming out in March. It's like, tell us.
Well,
dude.
I think that's just
Yeah, here's the thing. What if a kid was watching that stream? How are they gonna understand what the hell's
Yeah, but they
going
need
on?
to still include it, right?
But the thing is, Bish, I don't think it's so much a problem with the specs being included or not being included. I think it's just that the Switch, from day one, starting with the reveal to the actual launch, it's to me, it seems really, really fast if you compare it to past Nintendo consoles when the time between announcement and release is a lot
it's
longer.
like the same with any
PS4
console,
and
right?
Xbox One.
It was
For Switch, it's so quick, right?
Yeah.
It's just a couple months, not even a full year, right? In fact, October to March?
Do you think it had something to do with shareholders? Because I always
definitely.
I think they wanted to like pressure Nintendo. They're like, you know what, we need you to do something about this. That's why I feel.
I was hyped for the system after the trailer, but that presentation made me go from super excited to, oh my god, this is Wii U number 2. That presentation disappointed me so much.
Was it as bad as the Xbox One presentation, though?
No, Xbox One. Nothing's ever going to touch Xbox One review.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I was like,
I still want to believe that's a publicity stunt.
it's a fucking conspiracy. But
No, because they made a huge U-turn over everything they announced during that reveal. That's
Because
what
the
I found so
backlash.
funny.
Yeah, because the backlash and people were going to Sony, especially the way Sony was like, this is how you share games on PS4.
Oh my god, that
and
was
they
so
just
funny.
passed the game over.
No,
That was so funny.
I'm still going.
yeah,
I still want to believe that it was publicity stunt, so that during
It'd be the
E3 they
worst
just
publicity
No,
stunt ever. Their
yeah.
sales were
No, it-
terrible.
definitely not a publicity stunt. But
No one ever go that bad. It was just a stunt.
I mean, it just for me, what in the presentation, Jordan, made you think, oh god, this is Wii U Part 2? Though I'm curious.
Oh man, it's like
was it the shitty translator?
Oh my
no,
god.
that translator is terrible.
Rest in peace, Nintendo translator.
That dude lost his job for sure.
Remember when fucking Suda51 was talking? Remember when Suda51 was talking about his new game? The fucking sequel to No More
I have
Heroes?
no clue what was
The
going
guy
on
was
there.
like, he was tripping balls.
This is why I
in that
love
section.
being
It was
on
so
Twitter when
frustrating.
this happens. Because Twitter
Oh
was
yeah,
hilarious.
Twitter had a fucking field day. I feel bad for him, but that at the same time, it's his job to do that shit correctly, and he fucked up immensely. And I felt bad.
What
making
if
fun of
he
him,
didn't know
but
Japanese at all?
It's like, yeah, the guy was sick, and actually just got a random intern to do it last minute.
I did really feel bad, but mostly because his body probably wasn't ready for.
Or maybe this was the first time doing it, and they like the
I
actual
doubt it.
main. Oh, it might have been the case. The main translator was like stuck in traffic or something, and he was like,
Oh yeah, that'd have been shit.
he was
but
like,
either
"Oh,
way,
John, you have
it
to
was
translate today."
cringy.
He was like, "Oh, I only know a little bit of Japanese. I can't do this." No, you have to do this, John. It's dependent on everything. You never know. They execute him.
Yeah, guy was just sent to Gulag as soon as the presentation ended.
He's in this North Korean prison somewhere.
No. He's just. Let's move on from mocking him. It was bad, but it happened.
Rest
Shit
in peace,
happens,
John.
unfortunately. Rest in peace, translator. But in terms of let's talk about everyone else, because it wasn't just a translator, right?
Oh no,
There's
it wasn't just
also-
translator. Okay, first off, it
Yeah.
started off with the controllers, and it was just like, here's an ice cube. 1, 2, 3. It's like, what the hell's going on
Oh my god.
here? And then the Switch is still like motion control games and stuff, and it's like, guys,
HD
motion
Rumble.
control's been around. Like, motion control's been around.
What the
this is not
fuck?
even cool.
What
This-
the fuck
it's a
is
Wii.
HD Rumble? Because they mentioned that during the
You,
presentation.
for
right?
me, when I heard HD Rumble, it sounds like something that they would put in a sex toy. That's what it sounds like. Like, it sounds like a dildo function.
You could actually hear the ripples in the water when you shake a glass cup.
That's too much.
So dumb.
It's ridiculous, right? It's like
Yeah.
they need to choose their words because it's like they're reinventing the wheel. You can't do that.
No.
think
It's like
so.
the way
It's
Apple
just
markets
like-
their shit.
Although I did really like the idea of like it's like an enhanced motion feature.
Yeah, but it was just like, guys, stop showing motion control games.
It was
We've been
cool,
through
but
this
it's
again.
like the way they were marketing it, the way they're presenting it during the presentation, they were acting like, this is cutting edge technology that you've never seen before. I'm like, bro, we've been through the Wii and the Wii U, okay? Motion controls
The
aren't new anymore.
PlayStation
This isn't
business
2007.
I think it's because
It's just a business thing.
I think it's because the Wii was very successful with that, and they want to kind of regain some of the people that kind of bought the Wii. And I think it's because that's what people know Nintendo for, at least now. Like, oh, so motion controls. I think that might be why they did it. I'm not defending them by any means, but I think that might be why they drifted towards showing off motion controls more than actual games.
And I got excited when like Mario Odyssey wasn't shown.
That was amazing.
Awesome. But then it went back to like stuff like
What was the one with a weird ass name, like Octopath Traveler or something?
Project Octopath Traveler.
Isn't that the Square Enix project?
Sounds
That's
like
the
a
worst
hentai.
thing
like-
ever. I was watching Kind of Funny.
From the people
do
who
their
brought you the
reaction.
Wii U and the new Nintendo 3DS comes Octopath Traveler.
No, I was watching
Hey-
Kind of
hey,
Funny,
dude.
and they lost it at that part.
You wanna come to my house
I
after
just hope
school
it isn't
or work
anything-
and play Octopath Traveler? Like, no, what the fuck? It doesn't roll off the tongue at all.
You can call it OPT.
I just hope it isn't something like Project Treasure, like whatever it's called. It was the game Capcom was developing, I think. It's supposed to be a free-to-play title on the Wii U, and like apparently it wasn't as good as people hoped it would be.
I wouldn't expect it to be good, right? Because it was the Wii U. Not many
Wasn't
people
as
would be
good
playing
as
that.
people hoped it to be. Could be the slogan of the fucking Wii U.
They etched that on every Wii U.
In terms of let's go into what we learned, other than the HD Rumble and shit. But
Yeah, but no, I remember all the other things. Like after the press conference, it's also when it started. Like I went from like not being excited to like they're like you can talk in parties now. And you can use it on your phone, and it's a paid service. And I'm like, you can go in Discord or Skype or literally just call people for free. And then there's like the Joy-Cons are like $55 for one Joy-Con or $80 and everything. So I was like, yeah, everything was just like after the conference, plus all the bad stuff in the conference. I was like, I'm losing any kind of excitement for this thing.
Because that level of reality.
I didn't know how I felt about those prices. It didn't make sense that it was
The
so
funny thing
expensive.
is-
Like, I get you're working with brand new hardware, but at the same time, like, who's gonna be able to buy like all of these
Exactly. And who's
peripherals?
going to buy them? And they're necessary for playing. That's it's very weird. It's like they didn't include the charging pack with the grip. Yeah, it was like, why couldn't you just give?
And I saw
give
that.
me
I'm like,
one?
what? Why?
It's like that's one thing. It's like, what next? You're like, okay, no, you need to pay for HD Rumble, or you need to like buy to unlock this. That's like, it's ridiculous, right? Because you're talking about how it's expensive, Joe, for you, like in America, right? In the UK, it's even more expensive.
Well, I mean, it's more for like personally speaking, because like I'm a college student right now. It's like why should I spend money on peripherals when first of all I don't have much weight? It's like, what, as a college student, like, why would I spend all this money on a Switch and peripherals for games that I really want to play? Given that one, it's a little hard to get money, like spare money right now as it is, and two, when I could just buy like games on other consoles or like on my current
But the
Nintendo
point I
console.
was saying was that it doesn't necessarily matter whether you're a college student. There's people that they have jobs and they have families and whatever, and it's like the realistic price to get yourself started from the Wii U. I think the Wii U's the Switch is like $350 or something.
That's what I'm saying. I'm kind of grouping, like, that's like one
Yeah.
example of like a
But
greater
it's ridiculous because to get yourself running, you're gonna need your set of Joy-Cons, and if you want to play with a controller, you have to buy a Pro controller. If you want another set of Joy-Cons, that's gonna cost you another £80. Plus, you're gonna need grips, and you're gonna need a game. Exactly, because it doesn't come with a fucking game. Like, come on, a 1-2 Switch that could have been bundled in.
That should have
Oh
been
my god,
fucking
1-2
bundled
Switch
in.
at full price is just
Yeah.
£60
it's
for
ridiculous.
No,
a
like
fucking
that
game.
actually annoyed me. Like, that should have been a launch sale. I have no idea why they thought it was a good idea to release on its own. But I mean, like, they kind of shot themselves in the foot at that.
Yeah.
in
And
that
like,
aspect.
Even if it was like a $20 game, like, but why
Yeah.
why full 60 or whatever it was? Like, that's
No,
ridiculous.
the
price
thing is,
for
you're
that
saying
game.
$60. It was £60 in the UK. £60. And the ridiculous thing is with their price points is that you can buy the game any game for the for the Switch, physically for less money than the digital versions. Why?
Really?
That doesn't make sense.
That's stupid. Digital should be cheaper.
It should be, and it's like
Like, even
Nintendo,
stuff like-
no.
Like Bomberman Art, it looks fun. I used to play Bomberman a lot, but that game looks like easily like a $20 game instead of $50.
No, not even $20.
I mean, at least it's not 60.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's be honest.
$10 difference is not a big thing right there.
Yeah, but
I don't know. Like, it could be a big difference for some people, but I mean, like, it doesn't mean that it's any more acceptable.
wondering, guys, what you guys think about we talked about the controllers and shit, right, and how they're ludicrously expensive, right? We've all had some experience with the Nintendo Switch to a certain degree. Do you think they're comfortable? Do you think they're good? Because a lot of people that I've talked to are like, especially ones with bigger hands, right? They're like, the Nintendo Switch the Joy-Cons, they're just really fucking cramped, and sometimes it's hard to use them.
I would actually like to talk about a personal story. Like, it's not too long. Okay, so I think it was sometime last month. A friend of mine brought in the Nintendo Switch to a yearbook club meeting, like for like after the meeting was done. So like we were playing, I think the game was called Fast Racing Neo, the racing game that requires you to like switch lights to boost. So to do that, we took out the Joy-Cons and we gave, like, one person had one Joy-Con, one person had the other. Like, as I was holding it, I was, on one hand, like, I was really impressed on one hand about how you could just take out a controller and like play with it. Like, the analog stick and the buttons just felt very fluid, like it felt very comfortable to me. But on the other hand, the back buttons felt very uncomfortable. Well, because my hands are big. So like it was like the front was fine, but like when I was trying to reach for like ZL and ZR, it was very hard because like I had to kind of like bend my fingers and press them. So like it has its usefulness, and it also has like a couple of its flaws. Like I'll probably get over those flaws since it's something we're just gonna have to deal with the Joy-Cons, but like it's still something that that's still annoying to me regardless. But like other than that, like I really like I like the feel of it overall. Like I'd give it like a 7 or 8.
Yeah. Personally for me, I got
and it was sorry, Bish. It was also very surprisingly responsive. Like it responded very well to my inputs. Like I've heard people mention issues about how the Joy-Cons were, like, I think it was like the left Joy-Con, or was it the right one? I can't remember, but one of the Joy-Cons had a
some people have different issues. Some were the left and some were right.
Yeah, I didn't have that issue. Like, I used both Joy-Cons. I didn't see an issue like that.
Well, I think it might have been over extended use, or I believe it was when it was disconnected and you were covering the.
Apparently the main issue was a part that should have been there but wasn't. But I think their solution was like a foam piece. I don't remember like what it does exactly, but it supposedly helps the controllers with a decent issue.
I thought it was a software-ish update that they administered. I'm not sure about that, but I'll talk about my main experience with it. I got to experience the Switch at a Nintendo event, so I didn't. It was very different, right? Because Nintendo want to show you, hey, this is the best part of our console. And they won't show you the shit bits, but at least for me, the console did feel very cheap. It felt like this shitty plastic, and the screen. I was expecting the screen to be some sort of Gorilla Glass, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like it's like Nintendo with the price point they put it at. There's Android consoles, right? And even like the Nvidia Shield tablet. That's a better fucking. It's effectively the Switch, right? That's a better tablet for less money.
It works differently though.
It
Like,
works
you can't really
differently,
compare
but
the
I mean,
two,
in terms of
unfortunately.
hardware's similar, right? But hardware is similar for less money, and it has a better screen. Do you see what I mean? It's like Nintendo shouldn't have cheaped out on the screen. Like I feel that's
Especially
my
when it's
personal.
actually their console. That's the cool
Exactly,
thing.
yes. And I've seen a lot of people like scratching the screen, or you need a screen protector for this. That's one thing, and it's like
Putting the fucking thing into the dock, right? The dock is
Admittingly, that's an issue that shouldn't be there in the first place. It shouldn't be like you need a protector.
Exactly.
Like they shouldn't have to use a protector in the
exactly
first
because
place.
they didn't decide to go with glass. They went with plastic screen. That would be better.
Well, no, it's not that. The issue isn't the screen itself. The issue is the fact like the dock needs like a cushion.
Yeah, but
inside
Joe,
it,
if
when
you're putting in this day and age, if you're giving like a tablet a plastic screen, that's shit, man. You can buy plastic screen tablets for like £50, and they're
No, I'm not saying put a plastic screen on. I'm saying like in the dock, put a cushion on it.
Yeah,
so
but
that when you put
that's
it in,
the
you don't
thing.
scratch it.
that, and you don't need a plastic screen. Like those two things should be fixed. That's my personal.
I don't know why they didn't put a cushion in that thing in the first place. I would have thought, hey, that's a
It's
smart
money,
thing
man.
to do.
It's money. It's all about money. They want the cheapest thing, and it's ridiculous because when you open up the Switch,
Well, I mean, how much does it cost to put cushions inside?
it doesn't. It's not going to
inside
cost
something.
them a lot. It's not going to cost them a lot. Like,
so, like Indiana is just a poor
decision, and it might have been a rushed decision, but I do think that when you open it up, and because I saw this breakdown, like Ben Heck show, shout out to him. I saw him doing a breakdown of the Switch, and he was talking about how the internal parts are incredibly. Some are not necessary. Some are there for like no reason, but they're like very expensive parts. Like they did spend time on making sure that the console's great on the inside, but you shouldn't really make it a shit console on the outside. But at least for me, when I was playing it, it felt like I was playing this shitty plastic. Once again, McDonald's Happy Meal toy. It just felt like that. Like
It's a brand new console. It should feel more high quality. Like if it was like the slim version, then it could feel cheap. But the first version should be like feels like you bought something that's high quality and that can last for a while. Not some cheap plastic
does anything,
Walmart tablet toy for like 5-year-olds.
What does anything positive or negative come from anything besides the quality? Like, did you? How about the game? Did you?
I
play
played
like, how did it feel?
a bit of Breath of the Wild, and it was I can't deny that. I can't complain about that. But it was hard to get into the game because the controllers, they just felt wrong. They honestly did.
Did you play with? You played with double.
I played
Joy-Cons,
with double
right?
Joy-Cons. They were like, oh, you can play it with disconnected and use a stand. So I tried using the stand. Okay, it was a weird experience, but I can get used to that. We tried putting them inside the console as well, like attaching them to the screen. That was okay, but the plasticky feeling, I didn't like it. And then they gave us the Pro Controller. I enjoyed that the most. The Pro Controller was fantastic. I can't complain about it. And I felt that, it was, for me, that would have been the perfect way of kind of getting into the Switch. Like, the rest of it just felt bad. It took me out of the gameplay experience, right?
I saw the Pro Controller and I was like, this is something I'd definitely want to pick up when I eventually buy my Switch. But again, it comes back down to the fact that it's so expensive.
And it's like, it's effectively an Xbox 360 controller, and it's like, why is this so expensive?
Well, it is expensive, but from what I hear, a lot of reviews are saying it's quite comfortable, not quite as comfortable as the others do. But the main point that people talk about when they contrast the Nintendo Switch Pro controller and the DualShock 4 and the Xbox One controller is that yes, those other controllers may feel more comfortable, certainly. But the few things that the Pro Controller for the Switch has is that battery life is like several times longer. So instead of like 7 to 8 hours with the DualShock 4 and Xbox One controllers, it's like something like, I think, 40 hours, which is fucking insane, right? It's really good. And it also has some other functions that the reason for the extra price point, other than the battery, is that it also has some functions that the other controllers do not have, such as the amiibo functionality, and I think there's a gyro in it as well.
But that's one thing.
The Wii U Pro Controller had, it's a fun fact, the Wii U Pro Controller had 80-hour battery life.
I think it might have been 80 for the Switch. I don't remember exactly, but it was in the tens, right? Several dozens of hours, which is insane for someone who used to play on the 360. Right?
One thing that I did want to mention, you talk about having a gyro. The PS4 controller has a gyro. It has an accelerometer, wherever it's called. That has that there. It's not a really expensive controller compared to the Switch controller. And Amiibo, like, I'm having to pay more money for a functionality that I don't need or don't use.
It'd be nice if the Pro Controller was bundled in.
Then again,
with something.
that's not just the Pro Controller, Bish. It's the Switch as a whole, right? They're really trying to push their product because they know that Amiibo, it makes them a lot of money. Even though that you and I, Bish, or some of us, we don't collect that many Amiibos, we don't see the appeal of it. A lot of other people do, and they really spend money, and it is a real cash cow for...
No, it's not like you can take the Amiibo thing out of the Pro Controller. Let's say you take the Amiibo thing out of the Pro Controller. You still have the Joy-Cons that came with the Switch. You can just take the one Joy-Con, put the Amiibo on one of the Joy-Con that has the Amiibo part, and there it goes in the game. So
honestly,
it's out of the Pro Controller.
Instead of a Pro Controller, I think what they should have done, what is a lot more reasonable, right? Because Pro Controller seems nice, the gyro, like what my friend told me about the gyro was pretty cool, is that, oh yeah, if you just pick up and touch the Pro Controller, since there's a gyro in it that's always on, the system will actually get out of sleep mode or whatever, right? So that's pretty cool. But what I think should have been done, because I agree with you, Bish, I do think it's kind of unnecessary. What should have been done is that instead of having a Pro Controller, they just made a better grip, because the grip honestly looks like complete shit. It looks fucking uncomfortable as hell. They could have just had a grip with like the frame of of the Pro controller.
Which grip are you talking about?
The Nintendo
The-
Switch grip
the main
for the
grip.
Joy-Cons.
Oh my God.
Wait, with the double Joy-Cons?
Yeah, the double Joy-Cons. Right?
Well, I mean, I've held the double Joy-Cons. They feel perfectly fine to me.
with the grip in the
would,
middle.
would you
Yes.
would you play it?
Yeah.
Would you use the grip over an Xbox
wouldn't.
One controller?
I would
is
not.
my question.
When playing Breath
mean-
of the Wild with the grip, it was like it felt uncomfortable, and I was playing like for 30 minutes. It felt so uncomfortable, and it was just like I have to
Yeah,
switch.
my friend. Oh, I have to agree with my friend here because he invited me over. I got to play on his console, and he's like, honestly, dude, most of the time I just forgo the freaking grip because I don't like it, and I just have both whenever I want to disconnect it, I just have both Joy-Cons in either hand and just play it that way instead of using the grip because I just hate the damn thing, right? And I have to agree with him. From my experience, I also prefer just holding them in separate hands instead of using the grip because it's like this blocky square shape, right? Which is not natural
well,
at all.
it's 2DS, right?
Oh wait, I'm confused. Wait, which grip are we talking
The
about? Are we
grip
hold-
that comes, the bit that you slot the controllers into, that thing.
Oh, so you mean like when it's not detached?
Yeah, when it's not detached
Yeah.
to when it's detached from the console.
I haven't tried that. Like, I'm talking about when it is detached. Like when I'm using it, like when it's not attached to the console. That felt comfortable to me. I haven't actually tried it out.
That
with,
feels comfortable. Was what we're saying. It's just when you
I haven't tried it out with like when it's on the Switch itself.
honestly, I think that would have been better. So you'd have perhaps a more expensive grip, but it feels better, and you don't have to pay.
It's not
what,
necessarily
$80
more
for a Pro
expensive,
controller.
right? It's like
It's better design.
better design. That doesn't equate to more expensive. It's about how they designed that plastic mold. They could have designed it much better. They could have spent a little bit more time, or just got a better designer. Nintendo, what are you
People
doing?
have 3D printed more comfortable
Yeah.
grips for
But
themselves.
that's
they
the
didn't
great,
like the
that's the
original,
lovely
right?
thing about it. It's like Nintendo are not necessarily forcing you to use their grip. There will be more third-party accessories, and that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited to see a better console charging thing for the the controllers, because I think at the moment I don't know how they charge. Is it through USB-C or how do they charge? I don't know. So that people will be making third-party things, and I think even the company called Hori, they like make like fighting sticks and stuff. They've been making a lot of third-party Pro controllers and things like that, and it might be the case that they start making third-party Joy-Con. Would that be awesome to see or not? I think that would be great because it will be a lot cheaper.
I think it's
and
necessary, right? Because they shouldn't monopolize. Nintendo should not monopolize Joy-Cons.
But they
right?
will.
Everything.
I have a feeling they will, because they'll be like, well, these third-party ones don't have
I mean, it
HD
works.
Rumble.
It works directly with their hardware out. Like, it'd be interesting to see how third-party Joy-Cons would work, but as of now, I don't think they would actually be made.
But I mean, there are third-party PS4 controllers with touchpads.
Well, no, like,
and
no.
shit,
Here's
right?
the thing.
So-
Like, the thing is, the Joy-Cons, unlike the Pro controller and everything, the Joy-Cons work directly with the Switch.
Either way, I hope that they won't monopolize Joy-Cons, because it's always nice to have more options, right? The more
Yeah.
options, the better.
Yeah, no, more options are
But
always good.
it
I'm
also
just saying,
forces
like, I'm not sure how it would
Nintendo
work.
to lower their prices. Because if everyone starts buying third-party accessories, then Nintendo would be like, shit, we have to lower our prices. And then that will piss off a lot of people that bought it for like $80 and like, what the fuck are you doing, Nintendo?
Well, I mean, they're the ones who decided to buy it at launch. They knew it was coming.
Yeah. Well, we talked a lot about that. I'm just wondering what you guys think, because we cannot move on from this discussion without talking about something that I think we all believe is important for the Switch.
So I said the most important aspect.
Yeah, the most important aspect of it, or one of the core ones, would be specifications in terms of what it's capable of and the hardware, right? Because that will determine what it will be able to run, not just only now but in the future as well, right? So I'll just briefly talk about it for those our listeners who might not be aware of the little details. Bish can tell you about this, but it uses NVIDIA Tegra chip, so it's similar to what is used for smartphones, PDAs, and mobile internet devices, right? And because of the dock, when you plug it in the dock, the extra power that it provides, the specs are a little bit better. In terms of hardware, the tablet is a 6.2 inch, so not extremely big. 6.2 inches is 16 centimeters for those of you who use the metric system, and with an upper limit of 720p on the tablet itself. Uses cartridges, of course, 32 gigs of free space, which we'll be getting into in a little bit. But you can add some micro SDXC cards up to 2 terabytes. right? And there is.
Granted, they don't exist yet, but if you wanted to, you could use them.
I'm not certain if they've added that capability yet. I remember them saying that it'll be added in an update. I'm not aware at this point if they've added that update for micro SD XC cards. But other than that, the battery is 4,310 milliamps, which translates to around 2.5 to 6.5 hours on a full charge. All right. So my question to you guys is, do you think the specs are satisfying, and is it powerful enough for the wall? Because we talked about the Wii U not being powerful enough, the Wii not being powerful enough. Do you guys think that the Switch has the same problem, or no?
I want to get into this, and I think that, but it depends on what they're going for. If they're going for a lot of third-party support, I do agree that it is kind of underpowered. But if they're looking just to do a lot of remakes, like Skyrim will run on it because it was originally a Xbox 360 game.
Is it the special edition?
Yeah.
Well, because if it's
special
just,
edition, then
if
there's
it's
something
just
wrong.
the standard edition, which I have a feeling it probably will be because Nintendo, it'd be funny.
Well,
It'd be funny.
I have to echo what Jordan said earlier, right? It's like, I mean, you could buy Skyrim.
And then they released a special edition for the Wii U version.
Oh my
then they released
God.
a special edition for the Switch version.
Well, I have to echo what Jordan said earlier, right? It's like, sure, Skyrim's fun. You could buy Skyrim on the Switch, but you could also buy Skyrim on the 360 and the PS3, on fucking PC, right? It's like, why would you get it on the Switch when there's so many more options?
I bet you
right?
Switch won't even have mods, knowing Nintendo.
Yeah, I would not. Nintendo fucking surprise me, okay? If Skyrim has mods for the Wii U, then that's great, but it would fucking surprise me.
I didn't really think mods would be their aim. I think their aim was just those Skyrim on the go.
Yeah,
like
but
that's
who would
yeah.
want to play
people would
Skyrim
like.
on the go? Let's be real. You can
Do
do
there
that.
certainly is a market.
You can
It'd be cool,
you can
though,
do that on the
admittedly.
Vita. You can do remote play on your Vita.
What the fuck are you gonna on the tube? You're gonna use the tube internet to use fucking remote play, bish?
I got a 3G PS Vita. I can do that if I wanted to.
And no, Bish, this is, well, I mean, not everyone has a 3D Vita. No, 3D Vita. 3G Vita.
Yeah, I don't have a 3D Vita,
Um,
but maybe
That'd
someday.
be pretty cool though, Sony. You know, like team up with Nintendo.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. There's a difference between remote play and taking the damn console on the go.
Yeah.
In regards to the rest of the kind of specs, it's a bit weird. It's like, I don't know, like when we talk about 720p and stuff like that.
It's
It's
like
another
a tablet,
cheap
plastic
thing that they've
screen,
done.
720p. You know,
They've
Honestly,
cheaped out on it.
I've run Breath of the Wild on it. Like when I was trying out my friend's Switch, I actually ran Breath of the Wild on it. It looked
I
pretty
know,
good.
but
like,
it
actually,
does.
the screen
it's
actually
funny
beautiful.
that we're on the cusp of 4K gaming and we're still rolling with 720p.
Here's my 2
720p,
cents
30
on
frames per
this.
second, and then watching Digital Foundry's
Yeah.
videos, that game sometimes cannot run so well.
720p, 30 FPS. What is this? 2007, right? I mean, no offense, right? But the thing is, my point here it's not bad, Joe. I agree with you. And from my experience, it looks pretty nice, right? It's not like you're getting constant frame drops and it looks like shit. But you have to keep in mind a few things here. Firstly, this is 1 month after launch. Breath of the Wild is a launch game, right? So if you have to downgrade to 720p 30 FPS on a game that's available on launch, what sort of downgrade can we expect from games in the future, right? I don't want to fucking downgrade by that much when everyone's playing on fucking 4K.
Especially on Digital Foundry's channel, that the Wii U version of Breath of the Wild actually isn't that bad compared to the Switch version. So like they're pretty similar, and that's like, why is it running so
Yeah,
badly?
just about the same apparently. It's like, I think the only real incentive I see from the Switch version is that you can take it with you, like on commute and stuff.
That's another thing that makes me worry about the power.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
But
2.5
though,
hours.
Though since I'm picking up a Switch and eventually, I'm just gonna wait until I get the Switch so I can get the supposedly definitive version, because I have it's small differences. Like not many people really care, but like I personally care. Just some shading, like some better shading in the in a Switch version, for example. So I'm probably just gonna wait on that if I'm gonna buy the Switch eventually.
Kevin, you did mention power. That 2.5 hours that they tested on Breath of the Wild, that was lowest brightness, Wi-Fi turned off. That was like going.
Really? Okay, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
but
that's like that's
that's running Breath of the
pretty-
Wild 2.5.
yeah. That's like a really like super shitty condition.
That's like portable gaming within air quotes. You know, portable.
But that's what Nintendo does, right? Like every company does that when they want to promote battery life. It's like, yeah, you got like 8 hours battery in this, assuming you turn off Wi-Fi and you lower your battery and you lower your blah blah blah. There's always that kind of.
Even if you could have it at maximum brightness, Wi-Fi on, you're blasting
you would not last an hour.
2.5 is fucking even if 2.5 was at maximum settings and everything, 2.5 hours in this day and age for a portable console is a joke.
I think the issue here is that like we shouldn't think of the Switch as something that's let's think of the Switch like this. When it's taken out of the dock, it becomes a handheld. In that regard, it's a really good handheld. Because it can run
but
very
at the same
well
time, my phone
compared to like a 3DS or a Vita.
But the thing is,
but like when you put it inside like the dock, itself, like it gets the power boost.
This is the issue I have at the moment is that there are certain phones, right, that have a very large battery, more than 4,000 milliamp hours, and it can last ages, and it's got more than 32 gigabytes of space and a bit higher resolution, more RAM. There are phones with 5 gigs RAM at the moment.
But then again, to be fair, to play devil's advocate, those phones are what, $900?
No, they're like
minimum
what, $400, $600. The Switch, after buying everything and the game, will be closer to $600. So it's a bit ridiculous. The fact that there are phones out there that have better specs than the Nintendo's flagship console. It's a bit upsetting, okay, look, there's some really interesting points here, that the fact that it uses cartridges instead of discs. I am an advocate of cartridges. I do think they are better, right? But much better, because you can't scratch them, and personally for me, when I don't like buying pre-owned games, only because I feel that someone has used this. Is going to be in shit condition, but with the cartridge you can't.
And Nintendo cared enough to give their cartridges flavor.
Exactly, yes.
And then everyone fucking makes videos of themselves doing exactly what
why couldn't they make it delicious?
Here's
right?
the thing,
Nacho cheese flavor.
Kevin. Here's the thing. I don't like opening a game that has a disc, and after tasting it, tastes like just plain plastic. That offends me.
Yeah, but
it's like why doesn't the company care about the people who are considerate
why
about
can't
those
we
kind
have
of things?
flaming hot
give me
Cheeto
special
flavor
editions of games. Legend of
Exactly.
Zelda,
Why don't I not
flavor.
have a flaming hot Cheeto flavor
Oh god,
copy
I just
of
picture
Battlefield
that.
or Call of Duty?
Imagine they did, yeah, exactly. Imagine if Call
Mountain
of Duty
Dew
had
flavor.
like Mountain Dew, Codex P 2017.
That would be amazing. I would love that.
The Mountain Dew flavor is like a red cartridge. Is it? I know. No, it's a green cartridge. Doritos is like a red
And
cartridge.
if you touch it, a little bit of the dust gets on
Oh,
your
they can
fingers.
do
I was
a
so
Taco
confused,
Bell
though.
like thing and have like a Baja Blast and everything. That would be amazing.
Coincidentally, infant deaths through choking on the cartridge rise significantly.
I still find that funny though, and it's very interesting because the initial reason they decided to give flavor to the Switch cartridges was because they wanted to prevent infants.
Exactly.
But
from
it's weird.
actually
Like
swallowing
3DS never had that.
I think that they did it for that, but
I mean, I think we can I think we can write that down to the fact that Nintendo wanted to be a little more cautious this time.
yeah, that, and a part of me feels that, hey, you know what? It's a publicity stunt of sorts in a way, because you know what? You tell everyone that, hey, we're doing something new. We're adding this super shitty flavor to our cartridges.
They don't even know about it. It's like the giant bomb just stuck in their mouth.
Kevin, realistically, as interesting as it is that a cartridge has flavor, nobody's gonna buy a Switch because that's flavor. Like a Switch
No,
game
but you will
has
make
flavor.
videos about it and share it,
Yeah.
and it will generate discussion. Like, I was so confused when I first saw it. I remember seeing an Elena Pierce video. She's from IGN. I mean, I was like, is she drunk? Is this an April Fool's vid, Alana? But nope, it was the cartridge thing was actually legit. So
You want to know a good publicity stunt? Give different flavors to each copy of the same game so that you can collect each game and
can we
taste
have a
them.
taste test, please, comparing different games?
Like a BuzzFeed taste test, $1 cartridge versus $1,000
No, I was
cartridge.
gonna say,
It's like a
that's
jelly
what
be-
Couch Shop did. Couch Shop's like, we're gonna beat BuzzFeed to this. They went and bought a chicken from like Walmart, and they're like, taste the chicken, taste Legend of Zelda. He's like, oh, I want to taste 1-2 Switch.
What the fuck?
And then like,
Oh no, I remember Angry Joe did that too.
And
It was
then, like,
fucking
freaking-
hilarious.
No, it'll be like a Jelly Beans bag where it just has different copies of like the same game, and it's like $300.
I know that's the first thing Kyle Shop did. They're like, we're gonna beat BuzzFeed to this.
That's hilarious. I respect that.
Moving on from the flavored cartridges.
There's one thing I do want to mention, a last point about cartridges. Main problem with cartridges is that they're not Blu-rays. They can't hold as much information. That's another thing. So you can't have...
On the right side, though, it saves you a lot of space.
It does.
Speaking of space, I don't think we've mentioned the 32 gig. Well, Bish mentioned it briefly, but we haven't talked about it as a group yet. Is it me? Or does 32 gigs of space for a fucking
It's
home
not,
console?
it's not, let's be real, it's not 32 gigs. It's 20-something after
It's
the
20-something
OS
gigs.
is installed.
My fucking phone has about that much space, and I'm not downloading
something I
games
just-
on it. Okay.
It's something I'm confused about more than hate it, because it's like...
And memory is
It's
so
just
fucking
because-
cheap nowadays. Why?
Look, you can't download... Here's the thing, if you try to download Legend of Zelda, you're not going to fit it in like 28 gigs.
It's more of
the
hey,
digital download actually is
You remember-
13.4.
you remember
for
how
the-
But you're
expensive
gonna
it is
fit
to buy
one
the
game.
system and all
Yeah,
that
I know.
stuff?
It's still ridiculous, but I have to make a correction nonetheless.
Yeah. It's like it's so expensive to buy the system and all of its accessories, but guess what? Gotta buy some memory too.
Let's buy the cheapest memory available, you know.
But
It's-
this
it's
is where it gets interesting,
unbelievable.
Kevin, because in the breakdown video there was a lot where the memory was attached, and I'm talking about storage. Where the storage was attached, there was multiple slots for, as in soldered to the
Are you talking about the
motherboard.
micro-
I'm not talking
Oh,
about. I'm
okay,
not talking about
okay.
micro SD. I'm talking about stuff that's installed on the motherboard, right? And there was multiple slots for that potentially to come in. So Nintendo have effectively made their motherboard in such a way to kind of future-proof the Switch. It might be the case that they will come out with bigger, like I'm guessing probably around Christmas time, they're going to come out with, hey, this is a 120 gigabyte console, or here is our, or you know what I mean? I don't.
Oh my
I know
god.
that's-
Jordan's reaction.
Why is that
Jordan's
funny, right?
reaction he just fucking died. There's just 120 gigs.
Why is that
Whoa!
funge? I don't think
Holy
that's funny,
shit!
right? Because we're comparing this to a tablet, and most tablets have that.
PC Master Race, take that, bitches.
120 gigabytes. I look over my PS4 and PS4 has 7,000 gigabytes in it.
no, but seriously
No,
though.
Kevin, I swear to God, if you try to bring any more of your PC Master Race bullshit into this, I'm going to come to your house and give you one up the bum bum.
Up the bum, Joe. What the hell? The choice of words is fantastic.
This has nothing to do with PC Master Race though, okay? Fucking consoles have what? So
1
the
terabyte next to
PS4
it,
and Xbox One,
Let's not
they
forget.
launched with half a terabyte.
Let's not forget that. Let's not forget Xbox 360 had 20 gigabytes when it first was, and then they introduced a 4 gigabyte console. Remember that. Let's remember that 4 gigabyte console, right?
That when they launched, PS4 and Xbox One had over 15 times the fucking amount of memory as the Switch. Okay, it's not fucking memory is not expensive.
No, it's
okay?
not. It's
It
not.
is- it-
wait,
you
wait,
could
wait, wait.
buy a goddamn
Hey,
USB.
Look, memory is not expensive when you're using hard drive. Bear in mind, this is an SSD. SSD
They
is,
could do better than 32
No.
gigs, though.
Did something-
SSDs
oh,
of
did something similar to
Bear in
the-
mind, it's not like an SSD like the ones that you put in your computer. Those are relatively cheap. This is one that's soldered onto the motherboard, right? Those are very expensive SSDs, Kevin. So let's take that into consideration. They're not going to be that. That's flash memory.
As a consumer, I have to reiterate, as a consumer, I don't give a shit about the details. All I know is that for $400, I'm getting a console
Kevin, if you
that has
want,
32
if
gigs.
you want to pay an extra $400 for a 1 terabyte SSD, be my guest.
No, look, you're missing my point entirely here, Bish.
No,
okay?
Kevin, they're like you.
I understand what you're saying.
There are also
Let me finish.
There are also people.
Let me finish. All I'm trying to say is that yes, understandably, it's expensive, okay, but the way it's designed, right? There are consumers out there who don't give a shit about the fucking details because they don't know much about the way hardware works, right? And all they see is for $400, okay, regardless of the reasons behind it, they are getting a console with 32 gigs of memory that can hold
You know,
what,
this
three
is
digital
a
AAA games.
solution for Nintendo. If Nintendo are listening, they should have done the same thing that they done with the 2DS. The 2DS launched with a memory card. There was a memory card in the box. They should have done the same thing with the Switch. Like, hey, look, we're giving.
What they did with the Switch is very similar to the Wii U, because I think with the Wii U, the reason it was a little lower in price was because they didn't put.
But the thing is, with the Wii U, you can use an external hard drive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you can't do it on Switch.
There are micro SDXC.
Ooh.
But the problem with storing games on micro SD cards is that it's not like a hard drive. They are very slow.
Also, keep in
And
mind that these are
corruption of
micro
data as well.
SDXC cards and not normal micro SD cards. They're not the same thing. So, to my knowledge, the SDXC cards are more expensive than your standard SD cards. So that may be why they chose not to include it with the console. As much as I would have liked it, that's probably one of the reasons why they didn't do it.
Kevin, let's look at the bright side. At least it isn't 8 gigabytes.
Oh
yeah.
my god! Imagine that.
Oh, I don't understand why they would release an 8 gigabyte Wii U at launch.
I
Oh
forgot
my
about
God.
that.
Jeez, let's just suppress that memory and not talk about the Wii U anymore.
I mean, I've
'Cause
said this
I think
multiple times, but because Nintendo.
I think the Wii U for Nintendo is like the forgotten child. It's like the Tiffany for Trump.
Well,
you know?
there's like there's like the Virtual Boy as well. Let's not forget about Virtual Boy.
We do not speak that name on this podcast.
He who shall
Right.
not be named. Voldemort.
Yes, but speaking of battery, I wish it was replaceable, right? Like, I mean, memory, okay, can be upgraded for. I hope that they upgrade the battery also, because we mentioned that it's 2.5 hours when you port
It is, but
when it's portable, right? But it's not removable, so you can't replace it. And imagine, 2 years from now when your battery's
Well,
depleted.
that was like between 2.5 and 6.5.
2.5 and 6.5, but 2.5 was for like a graphically intensive game like Breath of the Wild, right? Imagine 2 years from now when that battery's depleted, you can't replace the battery. If you want to play Breath of the Wild portable, right? What's what with minimum brightness without Wi-Fi? What is it gonna be? 1 hour, 45 minutes,
what you
right?
can,
It's gonna
what
be
you can do is that you can bring a portable charger. The only issue is with these portable chargers is that I don't know how much the plug to charge the how many amps or watts it is, but I do know it's considerably lower than the amperage for for like a portable charger. So it will take, I don't know how long it takes to charge. I think it takes like I don't know how long it takes for the for the Nintendo Switch to charge, but I do know it takes like a couple of maybe like 8 hours or 9 hours for a full charge on a portable charger, which is a bit.
It's also important not to use devices like those while it's charging, because that'll just deplete the battery faster.
Yeah, but if you're on the go and you need that extra playtime on Zelda, or you're in an incredible match
I
on
know,
Splatoon,
but like in long term, is it really worth it?
Is it really worth it? We don't know, right? But it's nice that they put USB-C, but it's like, Nintendo, you didn't need USB-C. I understand why they did it, but you didn't need USB-C. It's like, it's an unnecessary thing, right? Because yes, you can charge through it and you can do this whole HDMI output and whatever, but it's not needed.
Do you have anything else to say about any details that were revealed during the January presentation, guys? All right. I think we can move on to the more exciting and less frustrating part.
Yes,
Well,
the
we'll
part
see if it's less frustrating.
because so far we've shat all over the Nintendo Switch, right? And this is
I mean,
why
it's
Nintendo
good,
hates
but-
me.
Well, no. Here's the thing: we've had some criticism, but we're not shitting
We're not
over
hating
it.
on
We
it.
gave some.
It's not like Yozora,
we're giving-
where we don't have. It's not like
Don't
Yozora, where Yozora has no redeeming qualities whatsoever, right?
Stop.
The Switch does have redeeming qualities. We're just criticizing it because we love it.
Yozora. Stop this.
It's like how
It
Yozora's
isn't,
a bitch,
because
but I still
it'd
like
be
her.
an insult to compare the Switch to Yozora, because the Switch is a lot better than that. Anyways,
No, Yozora is a lot better
like I
than
said,
the Switch. Fuck you, Kevin. You can't do that.
I think
to
that
my
we're all
wife.
really excited about the games, right?
Yeah.
We all want to play 1-2 Switch. That's what people are buying the Switch for, obviously.
wanna
So
play
let's talk
Xenoblade
about
2.
games, guys.
Okay, so with the 1-2 switch, I'm gonna beat you all with the shooty thingy.
What the draw?
Then we
I'm gonna
got
be the world's most MLG cow milker.
Oh my
because
god!
of the
What
Switch.
the fuck is that about? That's weird.
Be careful, Peter might go after you.
Yeah, Pete. I saw that. I was like, really, Peter. But
Cow
that's a bit
milker.
weird. Why would you want to milk a cow in a game?
count the balls in the box. Just a whole
Yeah, this is
variety of
It's
triple A.
really
Have you
sexual,
guys
right? you're feeling the balls in your hand as they. That's weird. First of all, second of all, you're milking a
One
cow and it
ball,
looks like you're
two ball.
masturbating.
Ooh, no, it's 3 balls.
I love how we just said that. Let's try not to shit on the Switch so much anymore, and then we go on to 1-2 Switch when we're doing just that.
No,
again.
because effectively it's a tech demo that they included.
a
$60
$60 tech demo.
They could.
It's a
Have
fucking
you guys
joke.
ever seen Game Grumps try playing 1-2 Switch?
No, I haven't,
Nah,
and I
I've
want
been
to.
watching.
It's
I've
so funny.
been watching Cow
Oh my
Chop.
God.
I've been watching Cow Chop play it.
It's hilarious. Seeing somebody play the cow game is just
It's
an
weird, man.
experience.
Like the boxing
my
thing is okay, right? I don't mind that. That kind of reminds me of those old school Wii days of boxing.
Oh, wait,
You
you mean for arms?
What you switch is
no,
so
no, not
cheap.
arms. I'm talking about the 1-2 Switch. It's like a dumbed down version of that, which is kind of insulting. But what other games? There was like the draw. Like, okay, that's fine.
Oh, here, I have a list here. I can.
There's baseball.
just
Like on
refresh our
Cow Chop
memories.
and baseball. Like it's like so the game's so cheap. Like he would just sit there and barely move his wrist behind his back, and boom, James would keep missing the ball. He'd be like, "When'd you throw it?" He'd be like, "Oh, and there's not." He'd move his wrist and keep throwing the balls. Once you switch is so bad.
It should have been like I wouldn't be shitting on it so much. I'd excuse it if it was a pack-in game.
Oh, yeah, it was a pack-in
which
game.
it should have been a pack-in game, but you know,
It should. That game is a pack-in game.
Fucking
that
Wii
somehow
Sports.
got.
They're like,
is like
we lost-
miles above this shit.
they're like,
you know?
we lost so much money in the Wii U that we have to take this packing game and try to get
It's
some
so
money out.
bad
Some
though. It's
poor
it's
saps.
unfortunate, honestly, because there'll be some poor mother out there or father that buys this game for their kids and like, hey Johnny, the same guy that translator guy, his parents buy him this,
Wow.
and he's
No,
like,
it's
it's
like-
bad enough I got fired by Nintendo, now I have to play this shit.
Johnny just
No,
lives
Johnny-
a life
Johnny's
of,
like-
of internal punishment, man. He has no happy life here.
No, it's like the one scene from The Simpsons when Bart's opening his present, and then Marty's like, oh, like all the kids are playing, and they always like, oh, you got me with the what? And he just sees 1-2 Switch. He looks
Johnny-
at Marty's just
Johnny's
smiling
gonna
at
eat
him.
that cartridge. He doesn't
Oh,
care how
man.
bad
no,
it
no,
is.
but it's like Johnny be like, Mom, so did you get me the Nintendo
You
Switch?
know,
with Breath of the
1-2
Wild
Switch,
like I wanted?
1-2
She's like,
Switch is what
There's
they,
no Breath of the Wild left. So I got you 1-2 Switch. And just starts
1-2
crying.
Switch is the kind of game that they give you in like North Korean detention camps. Like that's what you
God.
do there.
No, like
That's
wow,
internal
wow.
punishment for life. That's what they do.
I don't know, dude, that's kind of stretching.
That's
it.
what they're trying
I
to
mean,
feel like
it
that.
is pretty shit.
That's
I'd eat
what
the
I feel,
cartridge
man.
after that.
You know, let's not spend too much time on a crappy game. Let's talk about the actual.
Yeah, let's not
good
spend time
things.
comparing a video game to Korean prisons.
Well, I mean, it is an inapt comparison in his defense.
Should have the sound effect of the
Alright,
Switch. Just make the sound effect
here,
and
let-
switch to the next game. We're done with the 1-2 Switch.
Let's go through a couple of the games, just so our audience is aware of what games there are, and just refresh our memories. All right.
Of
So
the
there's
other
Breath of the
games that
Wild.
aren't as great as 1-2 Switch, you know.
Yeah, there's everything pales
These
in
are the lower
comparison.
tier games, but you know, if you want to buy them, it's up.
Yeah, like Breath of the Wild, especially, it's pretty niche. You know, not many people know about Zelda, right? So people might enjoy that title. There's also Just Dance, which is the game that
Game of
you
the
have
year
to buy right behind
2017.
1-2 Switch.
Actually, when you buy 1-2 Switch, you also buy Just Dance, the combo.
There's
combo
also
pack.
Skylanders Imaginators and Super Bomberman R, both of which have very big esports communities for things that are coming out. So Snipper Clips is, I believe, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is coming out in April. ARMS is coming out. Splatoon 2.
Wait a second. Snipper Clips. Well, Snipper Clips is out, but I just need to say, that is one of the cutest games I have ever seen. Like, I really want Snipper Clips. And it has a charm to it. Like, it's like a co-op game. You play as a couple people just doing these different tasks, like, oh, you need to get a basketball into a hoop, or you need to get these you need to, like, freeze baby chicks.
But do you feel that it's just more shovelware?
No, it is actually.
No, it's
It
actually
is-
actually looks like
it
I've been
actually
I've been
looks
watching
really good.
Cow Chop play. And it's pretty funny watching him play. Though
It's
they
a good
made
time to have with your
they
friends.
on accident they made a multi-tool Nazi symbol on one of them and completed a
What
level.
the hell?
They were just cutting and they beat it. It's like, and James goes, "I won" as the Nazi symbol. He was like, "What?"
Other than Snipper Clips, there's also Mario Kart 8.
Puyo
like I
Puyo
said, it's coming out
Tetris, isn't it,
April.
as well?
Oh, I really want Puyo
the
Puyo
Tetris
Tetris
game
too.
with waifus.
See, that's all that bitch sees it as. Like, who cares about Puyo Puyo? Who cares about Tetris? I just want to play Tetris with anime
That's what.
girls.
That's it. That's like Criminal Girls. Imagine that, but with Tetris. I would love that.
The next,
So
the
you're saying
next
you play
level top
Criminal
tier
Girls
waifus.
because it's prison with
Ew.
women?
There's also ARMS Splatoon 2, which I know Joe's looking forward to. Fire Emblem Warriors, holy shit.
I want to talk
I
about
need-
that because that game,
Oh.
I have so much respect. But at the same time, I don't know how it would work out.
Because he loves
I love
Koei
Koei Tecmo, but I do know that the game is not going to be published by Koei Tecmo here. It's just going to be published by Nintendo. Koei Tecmo are the people making the game. But the way forward, I have a feeling it's going to be very similar to Hyrule Warriors. And it's because it's Team Ninja that are making this game as well. Let's
It'll probably have its own like Fire Emblem mechanics though, like how with Hyrule Warriors it had like Zelda
it
items.
is,
Obviously,
but it's not. It's
yeah.
not. I don't think it will be like
Nothing
super
major.
right?
that will deviate
Yeah,
from...
no major changes. Like it's not going to be like turn-based.
it's not.
Yeah,
It's-
unfortunately
It's
not.
going to be like a Dynasty Warriors game, but with
I mean,
Fire
I
Emblem.
don't necessarily mind that because I'm getting into Dynasty Warriors a little bit as well, and I fucking love the crap out of Fire Emblem, right? So it's something that interests me.
It
There's also
seems like
super...
a cash grab from Nintendo because they do know that
It sort of does.
because they've seen the trend with, because obviously Dynasty Warriors is very popular in Japan, and they're like, okay, we got this IP, we might as well just apply the same thing. It worked with Zelda,
You
and
can
obviously
easily make the
it's worked with
characters of Fire
Gundam,
Warrior-
it's worked
Fire
with
Emblem work.
One Piece and a bunch of other anime games as well. Even Attack on Titan got their own sort of Muso game. So it's worked in Japan, it sells well, and they're like, okay, fuck it, we'll just do it. I wouldn't be surprised if they done like a Dynasty Warriors Pokemon crossover in a couple of years' time, because that will probably happen. And it actually did.
It's something for both fans of Fire Emblem and Dynasty Warriors to look forward to.
I don't-
Other than that,
I don't necessarily think it's for fans of Dynasty Warriors, right? Because, like I said,
I think so. Because, I mean, the mechanics are based... It is a Fire Emblem, sure.
He's saying it's like a mix.
It is a mix, exactly. I mean, because I believe that in its core, if it's anything like Hyrule Warriors, right? Hyrule Warriors was a Zelda game, right? But at its core, it was mainly, in terms of mechanics, a Warriors game, right? With a few
for me,
Zelda
it's like
elements
that.
thrown in.
I didn't want to buy Hyrule Warriors, not because I didn't have a Wii U, but it's just like, okay, I don't want to buy Hyrule Warriors. It doesn't feel like a game that would interest me, mainly because the style is very different from regular Warriors games, obviously because it is running on shitty hardware. My apologies for calling the hardware shitty, but you know.
What do you mean?
They're just
That's-
never gonna
sorry,
shut up
sorry.
about shitting on the hardware.
You know, I was
You
Well,
can't
at the same-
don't apologize for the truth.
Here's the thing. Back to Hyrule Warriors, it did give us one of the best Legend of Zelda waifus. So I can't complain about
which
that.
waifu
Give us
are we
Sia.
talking about?
Give us
Alright.
Sia.
You mean Linkle?
Well, I
You
mean,
like Linkle, don't
as
you?
much as you want to hate on Hyrule Warriors, Bish, we can all say with confidence that it's less of a joke than Pokken. Moving on, though, there is
Kevin,
Super-
there was no need for that.
best
there
joke.
was no
Drop
goddamn need for that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hold
Bring it
myself
full circle.
back. But
See, now you're getting two up the bum bum.
just rubbing it, salt in the wound. But
rubbing salt up the
again,
bum.
let's actually move on to good games, unlike Pokken, and talk about Super Mario Odyssey. And
I'm done.
okay,
I'm
Joe,
done with you,
to make
Kevin.
it up to you, we're going to talk about Super Mario Odyssey and Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
This is interesting.
Xenoblade is one of the
And
Nintendo Switch games
and
that I
1-2
really,
Switch.
really
That
care
was that
about.
one really cool mini game.
No, like I really. Here's the thing. I'm really interested in Xenoblade 2 because like, I'm not gonna spoil the original Xenoblade Chronicles, but like, because Xenoblade 2 is unlike Xenoblade Chronicles X, is a direct sequel to the original Xenoblade. So I'm wondering, because after the end of the first Xenoblade, I'm actually very curious about I'm actually confused about how they're going to like continue that. It's like we already start, like we're not starting with Shulk. Like Shulk is nowhere to be found in Xenoblade 2. He's dead. No, possibly. Maybe he'll be like the old man who actually saves you in the end. I don't know. But anyway, it's very interesting to me. I really like what they're going for so far. It's interesting how they're changing the art style. It's like if you compare like Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has a very like anime-esque style. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The original Xenoblade Chronicles was from Japan too, but that looked very like it's like they're trying to like make a certain style of human.
No,
like,
I'm just saying, like, it being that style is not a surprise from where it's coming from.
It's just I'm surprised they changed the style. I thought they'd be consistent. But I mean, like, if it's like a new game, like set in the same universe, well, Xenoblade X was the same universe, but I mean like in this like in the areas similar to like Bionis and Mechonis, then I guess all we can do right now is just see how it goes. Like I'll put faith in them since like they did a good job with Xenoblade and Xenoblade X.
They went from looking humans to like anime characters.
Needless
They
to
wanted
say,
real
I
life
think that-
waifus.
I think we can all agree that I don't play Xenoblade Chronicles personally, even though I'd probably want to get into it if I get a Switch.
It's always looked cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
It's
and
definitely a long game, but it's definitely worth all of your time.
it's one of the games. Yeah, exactly. It's one of the games that I think people would actually buy the Switch for, right? Along with Super Mario Galaxy, which I think looks
Super Mario
pretty
Odyssey.
fucking awesome.
One thing I want to know about it is that this game, everyone is always talking about the height of Mario. Like, how tall is Mario, right? But this game compares him to humans. And it's weird. It's like, obviously, because he's like I don't know if he's in New York or whatever, but
The sequel to Sonic Adventure looks great.
They're all aliens.
they're like double his or triple his height. It's like, is Mario just
No, but
abnormally short?
Mario's
or-
supposed to be human though, right? So, and he's not even drawn the same style though, Bish, right? Because the humans in the background, they're drawn like normal humans, and Mario is in his cartoony like.
What if this movie? I mean, what
Yeah, actually.
if this game, secretly, underneath everything, was a sequel to the Mario live-action movie?
No, don't remind me of that. Really don't. That was the shittest film of all time.
The very end credit, the very end, they transformed to the movie.
No. Like right after you
I
finish the
actually
game,
saw,
that's the DLC.
I actually saw something very funny online. Like it was a bit of green text, and forgive me if anyone gets offended by this, but it was basically why is Mario so small? Like is he human? Like, and somebody responds like, no, he's Italian.
Oh my god!
That's
that's
awfully bad,
fucking
but
terrible. Joe, I don't know how many levels of hell there are, but I think you're going to the lowest one for that.
Hey, somebody on 4chan said it, not me.
Oh no, man! I heard you say this. Don't make excuses.
and they just sign Joe.
I'm sorry if I
But it
offended
is- it is
anyone,
quite-
but I
Quite weird though, because like, how does this work? Like the game is very interesting. It does remind me a lot of Super Mario 64 as well as Mario Galaxy. So I was like, okay, seems very cool. And the fact that it's set in the real world, I want to know how the hell Mario got into this New York place. And it's like, yeah, I want to know how he got into New York.
I think it's just one of the worlds.
Yeah, but I want to know, is he going to be traveling to other worlds? Like, is he going to be in Shinjuku, for example? Or is he going to be, like, in London? Or I want to know that. I want to know I want to know more about the game, right? I want to know more about whether or not it's just set in the whole real world and all of the different because you know how Mario Galaxy was different planets and stuff, or does he take a plane? Because there is a plane on the logo, so does he take a plane to London and he's waiting for his like Starbucks and shit? Or I want to know.
Oh no, because if you see the trailers, he actually has a ship they travel.
Mushroom Kingdom is actually is actually a
it's-
different version
and
of
it's like-
Monster Island.
It's supposed to be like Super Mario 64, where it's like you're put in a world and you're just exploring and doing like different things. It's like that's what I really like about it. It's like bringing back like the style of Super Mario 64 while mixing it with like the Galaxy
Exactly,
vibes.
and I love Galaxy. I love 64, so I think this is a reason to get the Switch. I'm not going to be saying that outright, but I do think Nintendo do know how to make first party. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, as much slack as Mario gets, like for its popularity, like Mario is without a doubt like one reason to get a console.
I also thought some worker coming out of a building in New York and saying, "That goddamn short Italian, why does he keep jumping and putting dents in my car?"
Oh god, yeah, like Mario hanging around like fucking New York with people speaking with like super heavy Boston accents, you know?
But what? Wait. It's in New York speaking with Boston accents? What?
Oh wait, no shit, never mind.
It's like,
I got
hey,
confused.
Mario, what the fuck is with you? Hey,
Hey Mario.
Hey, Mario.
As a
Mario,
run,
was it-
Mario is actually no. It's like Mario is running the fucking mob in the city. You know, he's actually like the Don.
No, it's like Mario's trying to take a taxi. It's like, hey Mario, we don't take coins, we take cash.
You know,
Why does he sound
I
like
want
Linda
Bowser to
from
be like
Bob's
the size of
Burgers?
Godzilla? You know, like Mario super small. I want Bowser to be like a kaiju monster, just like everything's out of proportion. He comes in, run!
I could just imagine Shigeru Miyamoto just high when thinking about this game, because I think that would be...
Honestly, I just seeing certain Pokemon, I think that's actually part of Nintendo's creative process sometimes, honestly. But
Nonetheless, I'm excited for Mario Odyssey. Like, I
They
can't
got
wait to play
Snoop
that.
Dogg as one of the guest game developers.
You know how my
Like, featuring some
you know how my secret in
featuring
Battlefield
the
1
original
was
developers
smoking?
of Grand Theft
That's how-
Auto
That's
4.
how I developed this game. No, I was like, I remember E3 last year when they showed Battlefield 1 and they talked to Snoop Dogg. I was like, so what's your secret being so good? And he was smoking weed. He's like, this is my secret.
See, that's what they should do, man. They should have him in the adverts and shit. That'd be great. I would love it.
They should get some former Rockstar
Mario's just rapping.
developers to help with Nintendo, like to help with Mario Odyssey.
The interesting thing is, though, I've noticed that when Miyamoto-san, when he's talking about the Switch, he's not like passionate about it. Like, he's not the same Miyamoto that I've seen. Like, when, you know, even with the Wii U, he was super excited about it. It's like the Switch is not like, he's not super gassed about it, right? He's
getting
Frank
old,
is the
man.
rest of Nintendo. Like, I like your gimmicks. We're gonna slow you down the Switch. He probably some crazy ideas. Like, stop. We don't want to fail again.
No, like Miyamoto, I love you to death. You have done so much for this industry, and I love you. But never touch the Paper Mario series ever again. I just cannot get behind like the decisions that they
Miyamoto.
make in that series. But
If you're listening, please sponsor us.
oh,
We have some great
I know we
ideas
shit
for
talked to
Mario
you.
Odyssey.
Like, I know we shit talked about 1-2 Switch a lot, but could you?
He
please
has
sponsor
nothing.
us?
He has nothing to do with 1-2 Switch. I don't think Miyamoto was like, you know what, this is gonna be. I'm gonna put my stamp on this game. This is gonna be my game.
I hope 1-2 Switch gets like they do E3 press conference. They do what Sony does at the end. They're like, we have one more thing, and they just announce a 1-2 Switch sequel somehow.
You know what it reminds me of? You know 1-2 Switch, that guy that ran for the presidential election, Bush. You remember Please Clap? That's the Switch. That's 1-2 Switch. That Please Clap moment. It's just desperation from Nintendo. Please clap. That's what it felt like.
finally, to round off the list, there is another final game that has been announced. And by the way, if you aren't aware, most of the games, sadly, that we've been talking about on this list have yet to been released. Yet to be released.
On the bright side,
I'm gonna
it's
be
all
honest.
coming this year.
It's all coming this year, but not right now.
But then again, days can
I
change.
love how we actually ignored Zelda. Early on we were talking about Switch, you know, 1-2 Switch, and we're like, oh yeah, Zelda is a niche title. Play if you want to, and we never talked about it since then.
Well, I mean, I don't think
1-2
we
Switch
need to say
overtopped
anything, right? Because everyone knows about Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, like everyone knows about Breath of the Wild. Like I guess, like the point we just wanted to talk about the Switch itself.
Yeah, games that
I know
aren't
we talked
there
about
yet
a lot of.
are more
I
interesting.
know we talked about a lot of
Can
other
we talk
games, but I
about-
mean, like that was us just going on tangents.
Can we talk about games that we want to see that haven't been announced? That's what I want to.
Metroid, definitely.
I want a sequel to The World Ends With You, which will never happen.
You know what I want to see, and
Also, Octopath Traveler, because that's a great title.
that name.
Like here's the thing, like I need to say this, like Square Enix, if you're listening, I will like give up my life if it means making another World
What the
Ends With
hell,
You
Joe?
game.
And giving up. I will kill myself if you make this game.
Joe, I'll play.
No, like I will give them everything
play
I
it in
have
your
if
memory.
it means making a World Ends With You, another World Ends With You game, because I don't want this world to end without a sequel.
I'll play that game. Joe died for this.
That's what it has on the covers. This 10 out of 10. Joe died. Like, what the fuck?
No, here's the thing. They teased something that looked like a sequel back when the Solar Remix port was released on mobile devices, and they haven't said anything since. Like they've been leaving me in suspense for months, not months. They've leaving me in suspense for years. I've been waiting
the
so long.
Half-Life 3 community laughs at you, Joe. They laugh at you.
Is there even a community for
See,
that
we're talking
anymore?
about Half-Life 3. I want to see what happens to freaking Neko Sakuraba.
One game that I did want to see on the Switch, and forgive me for saying this, is Persona 5, and I'll explain myself here. A lot of people are like, "Oh, why Persona 5?" Like, it's generally noted that every Persona games has a portable version, and there is no way that we're going to see Persona 5 portable on the Vita. The reason I say this is because it can't. There is no way they can.
The Vita
It
will
won't
outrun that
run the
game.
game. But one console that can would be Switch, and the reason I say this is because the Switch is more powerful than PlayStation 3, and there's a PlayStation 3 port of Persona 5. So I honestly think that if they are going to go with...
It'd be closer to the PS4 version, too.
It would be close. It would be like a slightly shitty... Well, I can't say shitty because P5
Well, no, not
is
necessarily shitty. It just... No, it's more like it's...
a
it'd
toned
be
down
like
version.
A
But it would be...
A slightly toned down, but still
Yeah,
really
because
good
even the
version.
PlayStation 3 version of Persona 5 is great. So it'll be slightly better version than the PS3 version, and they can include extra social, confidants, extra personas, and kind of like what they did with Golden, right? Or maybe if they don't want to include extra personas, they could include a female protagonist.
Thing here is though,
Or they could include another person that gives you another powers.
Yeah,
or
or they can
since
have
it's on PS4, how games are now, they could easily just say, "Hey, it's been a year and a half. Here's a DLC. Here's a DLC you guys can buy. Change up a lot of stuff."
This is
They
another thing.
they
could
could do
they could
something-
easily do an expansion.
They could do something that like some like Marie, where like it's another character that has some importance in the
They
story.
could do that. Like I said, they could do that, but it's always well known that they have a portable version. Even since the beginning, they've re-released those games for PSP because obviously Japan has a very strong portable market, and we've seen Persona Q that did kind of well on 3DS, right? So there is that kind of market.
I just
there.
hope we don't see Persona 5 dancing all night.
I hope not. It's only because Yu Narukami,
It
right?
worked with 4 because they had Risei
And Yu Narukami
and Konami.
Well,
But like it just will not work with Persona 5.
why can't you have An dancing and Morgana? I would.
No.
It would be cringy, right?
It just wouldn't fit. It would be totally
It'd be funny
cringy,
to watch.
especially with the tone of the game.
It's like, oh, this person
Like, it works
died.
for Persona 4
It's like,
because
hey, let's dance.
it works for Persona 4 because of its tone and theme. Like with Persona 5, it just would not work at all.
But honestly, that's the reason I thought Persona 5 would work. And Sony usually, like what Atlas does is like, oh, we have a console exclusive with Sony, but technically this isn't. You can classify the Switch as so they could say, okay, this is our portable version. Although they wouldn't call it Persona 5. Technically, it's not. It is and it isn't, right? So
Persona
that's the game
5
I would see.
Crimson.
No, I think they'll probably call it Picaro. Kind of like, you know how they have those Picaro versions of the Personas, like Persona 4 Personas. So I think it'll probably be called Persona 5 Picaro. Maybe. Atlas, please
I
steal
said
my
Crimson
ideas and make
because
this a
red
thing.
seems good.
But it sounds weird. Why would they do that? It's not.
I don't know.
It's not Senran Kagura 2 Crimson, right? That would be a bit weird. It's like, okay, Golden. I understand that because it's like, oh, Golden Week. I get it. But Crimson. That's
I'm just trying to come up with a name.
It wasn't a good name, Jordan.
I don't care.
I'm calling you out.
I thought they called it Golden because it had a lot of
Oh,
yellow.
okay. No,
That's why I was
not
going
the
with Crimson
reason.
because of the red everyone.
Well, it's
5.
not Crimson Red. Crimson Red is a bit like a darker
man.
red, right?
You want Persona 5 red.
Persona 5
it.
Red.
Here's red.
Persona 5 Ruby Red.
That's too much, man. That is too much. Oh, so yeah, that's one game I want to see on the Switch. I
Then we
want to
have
see
the
a lot
blue
of
expansion,
the
the yellow expansion.
There's like Pokemon now. No, we can't get into this. I want to see more like remakes. Like you did mention having Fallout 4 and things like that. I don't necessarily want to see Fallout 4, but we could potentially see Fallout 3 and New Vegas on the Switch.
Why would you want
Fallout 3's
those on
kinda
the Switch?
outdated.
I don't know.
'Cause, I mean,
Yeah, let's
Well,
be honest.
you know,
remasters perhaps would be interesting, but just ports in the last gen, it's like we have.
I mean,
here's the
thing. Here's the thing, Bish. No one wants to play Fallout 3 anymore.
Yeah, but no one wants to play Skyrim anymore, yet they still put Skyrim on there.
Oh no, people still want to play. I assure you, people
No,
still
people
want to
still
play
play
Skyrim.
Skyrim.
Why,
dude.
if you already own the game
Yes.
on Xbox
Yeah,
and
no.
Xbox One and PC,
No.
do you want to play it on the Switch? No.
No.
We'll say it again. People. Well, no.
One
Well,
game
I
that
mean,
I'm confused as to why it doesn't have an announcement
Well,
is Minecraft. I
I mean,
thought Minecraft
given
would
some
get
Vans.
a game for.
Oh my god, yeah, Minecraft would work well on that for a lot of those games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it wasn't
Minecraft.
announced or anything.
Well, it's called
It
because
runs on
there's
the
no
Vita,
deal,
too.
right? But it would be an interesting idea,
I
certainly.
mean, they have the Wii U edition, so like they should bring the Switch edition.
Yeah, but they would have
You
announced
never
it
go
by
wrong
now.
with Minecraft. For me personally, honestly, I don't know like what particular game I want, other than like in terms of first-party titles. Obviously, I think we're long overdue for a good Metroid, right? Because Federation Force was a complete joke and it pissed off so many people. I think Nintendo really needs to capitalize on the success they're having with the Switch. And
I think they kind of hinted at that. Funny enough, with the picture of Prime Steak.
well, either way,
I wish I was joking.
either way, I do hope Metroid. I mean, whether it's like Metroid Prime and that it's first person or just hell, even anything like the old Metroid games where it's 2D. I'd like to see one of those. We're long overdue for a good, solid Metroid game, right? The community's fucking been begging for one for years now, so. Now's a good time as any, right? But in terms of concepts, I'm up for any game that incorporates Switch mechanics well. And I'm thinking of ARMS right now, right? if they can,
Arms looks pretty
Arms
good.
looks
honestly.
Arms looks really good. I mean, it may not be the most accurate way of controlling, of playing a fighting game, right? People have brought that up. The Joy-Cons aren't good enough for a fighting game. You might not be able to create a really good esports thing out of this.
Well, it's supposed to be a very different fighting game.
But
So like,
it may be different, and that may be unappealing to some people. But I think it's a really novel idea, and I'd like to see more stuff like this that incorporates the Joy-Cons and the portability and the hybridity of the console into its gameplay mechanics. I think that'd be really neat.
Yeah, but it would need to be a very unique game for that to work.
Yeah,
right?
but that's exactly what I want. I'm not looking for something that's super general, like a AAA
it's
title.
a risk. It's a risk, and it's very.
It is
difficult.
a risk.
Bear in mind, these companies are pouring in money into this. I don't know unless it has some sort of boost from Nintendo, kind of like Fire Emblem Heroes, in a way where Nintendo's going to publish it, but they will fund it. They'll give it to a third-party developer to make, right? I see if they've done it in that way, I see that working.
Anyways, anyone else have any games that they want to see on the Switch?
I want to see Knuckle Party on the
No.
Switch.
Oh,
Danganronpa.
sorry, Kevin. Oh yeah, that'll be great. But they've got an exclusivity deal, so they're never.
I know. I'm just saying that would be a good one to be on Switch, though.
That would be great.
It would be pretty
One
nice.
game that I did want to mention, Kevin, and I'm sorry. My apologies for anyone listening. Honey Pop. Apparently, the creators of Honey Pop, they did say, because they're making their second game, they did say if Nintendo will allow us to publish this game on the
doubt
Switch,
it.
we will do it. And
I not gonna happen.
why?
That's my bet. Not
Because
gonna
I
happen.
want it
Nintendo.
to happen.
Because it's a Nintendo, okay? Fucking Steam has a problem with games like that until recently. Nintendo, no, it's a fucking dream. I'm sorry, it's never gonna happen.
Please,
No, it's Nintendo. It's
No.
Miyamoto-san, please.
not in 1,000 years. That would fucking go against the image that they're trying to promote, right?
What if
I
they
really
were
don't think
like,
that would
you know what? This is one of our. What if that was a launch title for the Switch?
Honestly,
Honey Pop 2.
unless we live in an alternate dimension where all of the heads of Nintendo Japan died, probably not gonna happen.
They would sell so many consoles if they put Honey
Kevin,
Pop.
they're gonna die eventually. I'm sorry to burst your bubble.
We're gonna take them out.
And then Nintendo just turns like a hardcore Honey Pop machine.
You know, Nintendo. Fun fact: Nintendo used to be a love hotel, so they're
Yeah,
going back
it's
to
gonna
their
come
roots.
full circle.
Yeah.
Honey Pop virtual reality.
Oh my! No, I don't want to imagine that. That sounds wrong. It sounds
Coming
sticky
to
as well.
the-
I wouldn't want to.
Coming to
I don't wanna play
the
that.
next Nintendo console. Once
It
all
would
the
be
heads are
sticky to
dead.
you, wouldn't
On
it?
PSVR, like the only guy that owns a PSVR at the moment is Jordan. So Honey Pop VR, imagine that.
Oh well,
Great.
I didn't say I would buy it, but I guess I'll try it out. There you go.
You got it. You have to try it out.
For research for this podcast.
Moving on from the games, right? Lots of games coming out, not necessarily out right now, right? But lots of good games that people want to see coming out in the near future, which is nice. But right now, what a lot of people are asking themselves is it worth it, right? So let's talk about how the industry, how consumers have reacted to the Switch itself, right? Because on one side, consumers seem to be pretty damn happy with it, right? Everyone that I've talked to that owns a Switch is really happy with the experience, right? But if you go on the web, of course, if you look at some other reviews, it's not necessarily bad, right? But it's not amazing either. For example, I'm seeing a lot of lots of 7s and 8s. So
Bear in mind those reviews are talking about the console at the moment. It's not talking about the potential.
Exactly.
And I think it's very difficult to review consoles, and I commend them for trying. But it's very difficult to review consoles only because you're reviewing it at a specific time. You're not taking into consideration.
They are aware of that, of course, right? But I mean, we've already talked about the games in the future, right? And in the later section, we'll talk about the future of the Switch. But I think that the question we have to ask ourselves right now is it in its current state, with the current games and the current problems and advantages and whatnot, do you guys think it's worth it?
If you buy a Switch right now, you're gonna, like you said, if you want more memory, buy more memory. If you want the Pro Controller, buy a Pro Controller. If you want the charger for the Joy-Cons, you're gonna get that if you want the charger. If you want all that stuff, but if you're gonna buy the Switch, you're basically gonna buy for one game right now. That's Zelda.
Yeah,
but,
once you Switch, right?
Yeah,
So-
once you Switch. Actually, I'm sorry, I messed up.
But
But
Kevin, could you repeat your question?
no, I was
so
saying
the question is-
like you have Zelda. Then Mario Kart, if you want to play Mario Kart, but let's say you're someone who owned the Wii U, you already have Mario Kart. And I guess there's Splatoon, but like there's like really nothing else. If you buy it right now, you're getting Zelda, and then you're gonna be sitting there for months.
In its current state, with the games that are out now, not the ones that are coming out in December and whatnot, with the problems that aren't fixed as of right now, do you guys think that it is worth it? Are you guys happy with the way it launched?
It's actually a tough question. Here's the thing. I'm happy that there are games coming out, there are games coming out consistently, or like throughout
If
the year.
nothing gets delayed.
It's like that's something. There's not much of a wait. Like because with the Wii U, you waited 6 months for an actual game to release. Like that was kind of unacceptable. But although I'm very happy about like the future game lineup, I'm not very happy about the launch. It's like Zelda is a really good game. It's something I'd totally buy a Switch for.
But not like $500, right? It's not, to me at least.
Yeah, because if you're just buying the console for one game, you're essentially buying you're essentially buying a $360 game.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there are people who do that, right? Hardcore gamers, but I doubt there are many casual consumers that, just unless you're freaking rich and you have a shit ton of money lying around and you don't know what to do with it. I don't think there are many casual consumers that just go out to buy a Switch and Breath of the Wild, right? Usually, if you want to buy it right now, is with a lot of tech and consoles and whatnot. You're a hardcore fan, right? And I'm not going to delve into what I think too much because essentially, I think that Joe, you've said all there is to be said, right? But there is one thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, of course, I have a lot of like, if I were to buy a Switch at launch, I have like my PlayStation 4, I have my PC. Like, if I wanted to play, like a lot of games to pass the time. But like, I bought the Switch, so I want to spend my time with the Switch like effectively. It's like, of course, I could also buy games like Bomberman and Snipperclips if I want to play with friends. But like, it's like even then, like those games are games I'd only really play with my friends. It's like Breath of the Wild is the one game I play on my own, and like I spend all of my time doing. It's like I don't want to buy the Switch just for some like that and 2 multiplayer experiences that might get old after like a month of play.
Especially when you be waiting for a long time for even new games to come out that are worthwhile.
Yeah, so like I'd say, here's the thing. I'm saying the Switch is worth. Right now, I'm saying the Switch is worth your money, but it's not worth it right now.
Yeah.
It's like I'm gonna wait. Like I'm gonna get a Switch. Like I really want a Switch, but I'm gonna wait until
December, right?
Like.
At least.
Yeah, like the fall or like September. No, the fall, like, or like the winter time, like December.
Q3, Q4, 2017. Definitely not now.
Yeah.
And I want to discuss that actually because I think we've all brought up a very interesting point, and it was brought up earlier actually, because I think we can all agree that right now it's a really big price tag to pay for one game, as good as it is. Right, and I've been talking with Bish and other people before we recorded this episode, and we were like, it makes so much more sense if they timed the release to be in December, because that's when they'll be having a bunch of AAA titles released in a very short period of time, and it'll give it the boost that it needs, right? And you brought it up earlier, and you said that
I think it's honestly down to shareholders. There was probably pressure from them.
100%. I think that they were really trying to jump off ship from the Wii U ASAP, and they are just in a rush to get this out as soon as their first major first-party title
it kind of hurt
would be out.
Because it shows. I do believe Nintendo doesn't on purpose. They don't bring out a shit quality console. Like that's just what I believe, right? I know that they know how to make a good console and know how to manufacture one well. It felt rushed. Like even the way the console fell and. Like, that's how you know the internals were all there. Like, it's all future-proof, right? But it feels like they were pressured or they were forced to kind of do it quickly and get it out there and sell, right?
I think that it's not even a matter of thinking anymore or having suspicions. I think it's effectively what happened because logically, right? Why would they not delay the launch and try to get a more solid launch lineup, right? They have no reason to. The only reason that they would want to rush, and as we said before, the period from revealing the Nintendo Switch officially and it releasing is abnormally short for a mainline console, right? So, to me, it's probably the investors, right, that are putting pressure and who are not satisfied with the Wii U that forced them to do this. Unfortunately,
we're talking about investors and stuff, and I think they kind of take a part into the future of the Switch. and that's what I want to talk about. I really want to discuss what do you guys think the future of the Nintendo Switch is, because this is a very interesting topic. I did speak to Kevin about it briefly. Personally, I wanted to bring out and say that the future of the Switch is not dependent on its success, right? But it's more so, I want to bring it out in this way. I think when I'm talking about the future of the Switch, I'm talking about where it's going to go as a console. Is it going to be treated more as a home console? Is it going to be treated more as a portable? And I feel that it is all dependent on how developers, especially third-party developers, Nintendo can push it all they want in a certain direction, but if third-party developers want to get on board with the Switch and they want to develop games, you know, what types of games that they produce will generally affect what this console is going to be known for. And this is something I wanted to bring up. There is a Japanese developer at the moment that is developing a game for the Switch only to be played in portable mode. Like, people do say that, you know, if you put this Switch inside the dock, it has more opportunity to use its full potential, right? It will run at a higher clock speed, etc., because it's plugged in. You can do that on the Switch without plugging in the dock. So there is opportunities. If there are going to be Japanese developers that are going to be developing games for portable mode only, right, it will change the way the Switch is perceived, and more people will be like, okay, I'm just going to treat this as a portable console as opposed to a home console.
I think it's unfair though. Like, even now, even 1 month,
It's unfair, but at the same time, it depends on how the third-party developers decide to take this console.
It also depends on if those developers are used to developing on mobile devices
or home console. Right, exactly.
I can see what you mean, Bish, right? The third-party library for the Switch will undoubtedly affect
It's
what
for
console
example,
it will
we will talk about the Vita very shortly. The Vita is a somewhat dead console, right? But a lot of indie developers now, especially now the Vita's dead, have kind of jumped on board, and that's what the Vita's known for. The Vita's mainly kind of known for like Japanese games and indie titles, only because those were the kind of games that were being developed when the Vita was dying, and that kind of shaped the way it's the kind of console it's become, and it's affected its success. In the same way, third-party developers do hold a large sort of share in the success of the console.
I do agree, but I disagree at the same time.
Okay, I want to hear why you disagree.
Because, yes, third-party developers will certainly have a significant impact on the Switch's future, but as stupid as this sounds, the Switch itself, as a console, has a greater impact on its own future because of its future, right? Reggie himself has stated that, you know, yes, the Switch is its own thing. It's a new hybrid console that we've never seen before, and it's not direct competition to the Xbox One and the PS4, right? But since, as you said, it does share lots of titles with these consoles, right? So realistically, it will compete with Xbox One, PS4, right? And because of the Xbox One and PS4 coming out before, right, having a greater amount of games, lots of multi-platform games, right? And because the Switch, with a lower price as well, my point is it's not a level playing field, unfortunately, from my point of view, if you compare the Switch to the Xbox One and PS4, simply due to the fact that if we look at third-party titles, right, lots of them, most titles on the market are multi-platform, right? Exclusives are here and there, but they're rare, right? Multi-platform games are more common. Except the Switch, because of its hardware, because of inherent characteristics in design of the Switch.
Kevin, is that majority of developers, and I can't speak for all the developers that are on board with the Switch, because we don't know how Nintendo has kind of prepped them for the Switch. But for most developers, right, they stick to what they know. They're not. Most of them are not going to take risks, especially in these and things like that.
Which is exactly what I'm trying to say here.
But the thing is, I'm not going to take. If I was a developer, I'm not going to take much advantage of motion controls. I'm just going to take advantage of touch controls and probably make a rhythm game for the Switch, right? Or like a new Project Diva game, or whatever, right? Because those are easier games to develop as opposed to, okay, I'm going to use this motion control and the whole. For how many balls are in a box, right? No, I would feel like only Nintendo can do that incredibly well.
But exactly, but what we're both getting at here is that at the end of the day, right, because of the Switch's, hardware, right? In fact, it's weaker, and because of its hybrid nature, right? It cannot run all of the multi-plat games that are available on other platforms.
And so
itself,
third-party
it's
titles
limited.
would need to be exclusive.
Exactly. They'd have to be exclusive, right, to the Switch. So if you're a developer, right, and you're developing for the Switch, most likely, unless you're porting over to the Switch, right, most likely you will have to create a game for the Switch, right, because the other consoles don't have that. Of course, it's not something that's new, right? We've seen that problem as well for the Wii, for the Wii U, right? It's just the fact that the Switch is different, and because of that, like I've said before, with friends and with Bish, in early conversations, because of the nature of the Switch, multi-platforms basically become exclusives for the PS4 and Xbox One and PC, right?
I mean, multi-platform just means more than one console.
Yeah,
means
but I'm talking
every
about
console but the Switch.
Exactly, that's the problem, right? Because you're cutting yourself off from such a huge portion of the market.
But that's because of
the
hardware.
games library. That's exactly my point.
But let's be hypothetical here. What if the Switch was on par with PS4 and Xbox One, but had these additional features? Do you think third-party developers would use these features, or would they say, okay, let's be a bit lazy, the game is just going to be the same on all three consoles? I don't think they would take advantage of that.
Yeah, I would say they probably skip the features because, it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, why develop using the features on one console when the other three platforms that don't have it? It's like, no point spending this extra cash on this and the majority of players aren't going to use it.
Well, here's the thing with the Wii U was that you had like the two screen mechanic. But like with the Switch, like the screen is used for like on the go play.
Yeah.
It's like, so they won't have to work with too much, so that way it isn't as much trouble to make the port.
Very valid points, guys, but I think that just talking about, would they hypothetically take advantage of these features if the Switch was as powerful is a moot point, because yes, it would be unfortunate if they did not take advantage of the Switch's unique features. But at the end of the day, right, for a multi-platform game, you're not going to buy it because, I want to use the motion controls on the Switch. Just the important part about having multi-platform games on the Switch is the options.
The Switch is I'm not defending the Switch here, and neither am I defending Nintendo, but I do need to say this because it's a fair point.
Okay.
Nintendo has created a unique console, right? If they created something that was as powerful as PS4, Xbox One, then why would people buy the Nintendo Switch? There would be no reason, because I could just buy a PS4 and Xbox exclusives, right? That would be the only reason.
It's a bit confusing because by hardware, I thought you meant like GPU, CPU, not like the controller. I assumed that you meant the just the capabilities of the chips and shit would go up.
Not only the capabilities of the actual like CPU and all that, I'm also talking about controllers as well, and the actual Switch itself.
Well, then it would be. I don't think a discussion needs to be made, right? The answer is quite obvious in that case. In the case of the Switch having simply more powerful GPUs and CPUs and RAM and whatnot, I think that if, hypothetically, as you said, if there were more multi-platform games on the Switch, yes, it would suck that you can't take advantage of the Switch's unique characteristics, but at the end of the day, right, just the fact of having multi-platform games on your console is good because it gives you It gives you options, right? Because if you want to play a multi-platform game, you can do so without having to buy a PS4 or Xbox One.
This is where it gets
if you want to
interesting
play
as well. Like, I think there is a trend within consoles, right? That they're becoming more like PCs, and you're getting a PS4 Pro and Xbox One Scorpio and things like that. Do you think that there is an opportunity for Nintendo to integrate a external GPU or an external CPU into that dock? Because currently it doesn't have that. A lot of people were thinking it did, and create, instead of creating a new console, they just create a new dock every couple of years. Hey, look, this is the upgraded dock, and you can play these multi-plat games. Why not? That could be a solution.
Does sound cool, but then it throws away the whole handheld mode.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, that's something that's been thrown around a lot. I think it's a quite popular rumor, right? Before launch, anyway, that, oh yes, the boost that the Switch would get would be from an external processing unit located in the dock, right? I think that would have been really cool, right? Because it allows them to do so much, right? Because if you want to upgrade, you don't have to buy the entire
And I think,
everything.
And this is where it makes me think Nintendo will do this, right? Because they've chosen specifically USB-C, not USB-A or USB-B, USB-C. And USB-C has the options to do like HDMI output and whatever. That's fine. But it also has the option, like you can buy a computer with USB-C and you have Thunderbolt as well. And you can plug in an external GPU. You don't need to do you see what I mean? You don't need to have that there. We see laptops that take advantage of that. So why can't the Switch do the same?
It's definitely interesting, but like at the same time, I feel like it'd also limit like the portability of the Switch.
I have to agree there.
Which kind of destroys well the purposes of the Switch.
Well, they could do like a Switch Pro. Bear in mind, they have this partnership with Nvidia, so we don't know what the hell's going to happen. Maybe Nvidia would facilitate something like that.
If they did do a Switch Pro, then you gotta go back to how Nintendo's old ways of thinking, how the saves and stuff just stays on one system. Can't bring over too much or hope new system. Even they upgrade the handheld version of the Pro.
Or what you can do is put they can put like GPUs inside. I know this is overkill, right? Put them inside the Joy-Cons, kind of like Wii Motion Plus, right?
I think you're getting a bit too
Joy-Con Plus
optimistic here, Bish.
It's getting a little too far.
Too hypothetical, in my opinion. I mean, in terms of having a GPU or external components in the dock, I mean, it sounds cool, right? It'd be interesting. I don't think they would do it though for the reasons that Joe and Jordan mentioned. They do have to create their games in that case for the weakest link, which would be the hardware on the portable version on the console itself.
Yeah, but don't they already do that with Nintendo DS, Nintendo 3DS, and new 3DS?
No, they don't, because the thing is, most of the games that come out now are just Nintendo 3DS games that can be played on both, right? The exclusive new Nintendo 3DS games are quite limited, right? Because they don't want to cut off a portion of the market.
Why don't they just do the same sort of power boost with?
Because the power boost here is different, Bish. Because if they do it just, if they do have a hardware upgrade for the Switch, I think that they're just going to upgrade the console, the tablet itself. Maybe they'll include an upgrade in the dock as well, but they will at least have an upgrade in the tablet, because if you don't, the tablet itself will be lagging behind in terms of strength, right? And all future games will have to, they'll have to account for that, right? Whereas the comparison to the PS4 Pro, I think, is a bit different, because in that case, you're upgrading it, yes, but the entire system is being upgraded, right? Whereas the Switch, it's divided into two parts, the dock and
But I'll be honest
itself.
with you, I don't see what's the issue with having like a modular console, because they do kind of facilitate
There
that.
isn't. It's just that if they upgrade the dock, they will also need to upgrade the tablet itself.
Yeah, I know,
so
but
it
I
doesn't
mean,
become a
why
liability.
can't they integrate that kind of stuff into the Joy-Con, or have like different attachments that you switch in and out?
Because Joy-Con does not actually connect to the tablet, man.
Yeah, the
it just
Joy-Con
slides
doesn't
on.
actually.
Right.
Well, I don't know why you do that to
know
the Joy-Con anyway. It's wireless.
Bish, I will say this though. You know what? It's a good idea, but
Well, no, wait a second.
Oh,
I need to
okay.
say, like, why would you, like, the Joy-Con just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why would you connect it to the control, like, to the system if it's wireless? Like, why'd you put a GPU in a controller? That makes no sense.
You know what, Joe? Thanks for ruining my ideas. I wanted to get hired by Nintendo, but now you crushed my dream.
well, you know what? I'll be the one to get hired by Nintendo, because I wanted to bring up.
Is that a sign of defeat?
It is, Joe. You just crushed my dreams. Now Reggie will never notice me.
But on the note of upgrades, though, Bish, I do think modular consoles. It's an interesting concept, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and be hypothetical as well. Okay, and we mentioned the Shield earlier in this episode, yes, and the Shield relies on NVIDIA Cloud, I think, in certain ways to play PC games, right?
So you think the Switch could do the same thing, considering it has the
I don't
same?
think it will happen. It's quite a stretch, but it would be very interesting if it did, right? Because then, the whole issue with the Nintendo Switch being less powerful than the PS4 and whatnot, and it being limited in that regard, would practically be mitigated, right? If you could do computing in the cloud.
I heard that's what Nvidia is going to be doing with the current with Nintendo games. They want to bring Nintendo to the Chinese market through the Nvidia Shield, and have them stream like Wii and Wii U games through the Nvidia Shield. That's what I hear. Those are rumors, but it is possible. So it makes me think maybe they might do that with Switch. Maybe there might be exclusive
for Switch.
titles
For Switch, I wouldn't be surprised, but just or it wouldn't shock me enormously. But for Wii and Wii U, honestly, just because they're motion controls, I don't think that you'd be able to replicate the same experience on a Shield, for example.
Yeah, maybe.
We've talked about everything Nintendo Switch from A to Z. From the rumors about it, the Wii and the Wii U that preceded it, to the reveal, the presentation, right? We've had a pretty all-encompassing global discussion, and I think the one question that everyone wants to know, and that we should ask ourselves here at the end of the day, is: do you guys think the Switch will succeed? Are you guys hopeful for its future?
I'm hopeful, but I don't. I have a feeling it'll be Wii U too, or Wii W.
I have right now it's selling well. There's a lot of hype around it. It's exciting, but with in the future not many third-party support, the long wait between games, and who knows if stuff this year will even get delayed or not. You know how games are. It's a friend codes online system that's not even in place. You have to use your phone unless they change that. It's weird. I have a feeling that. Right now it's in that hype mode, but I have a feeling it will die down, and it could possibly just be like, whatever. It's Nintendo's console. Cool, new games out. Whatever. I have a feeling it's gonna be a Wii U 2. It has a chance of being a Wii U 2.
Might be like Pokemon Go in the sense that the hype comes crashing down.
No. Pokemon Go was a colossal failure. It's like the failure is
a colossal failure that's made a lot of money. Let's remember that.
That's made a lot of money, admittedly.
Right, but I don't think it's gonna be a Pokemon Go. That's kind of putting it low.
What do you think, Joe, about its future?
Honestly, I think it's like Nintendo's definitely trying something different. Like they've already got the marketing down. It's like the marketing for the Switch has been phenomenal. It's like they're definitely they're not trying. They're not confusing consumers this time, so I think you'll in turn it'll generate more money.
Okay.
More sales.
Fair enough.
And although I don't like the launch lineup, I do like that they have games planned for the rest of this year. It's only I think 2 month waits between them.
Yeah. Well, so for some of them, they all have varied launch.
Well, the point
times.
is there are some heavy hitters coming out this year that are planned. It's we don't know if they're going to be delayed or not.
Exactly.
That's
it's up in the air at the moment.
I know that's it's something I can't predict. So I can't guarantee that all of the games are going to release this year, but I think that the point is they're planning to release all these games this year, and that's already a step up from what they did.
And I just thought another thing, stuff gets, Christmas time. Remember how last Christmas how the Xbox One and PS4 went from 300 to 250 and stuff during Christmas time? It's it comes to Christmas and people who don't own those systems yet, do I want the Nintendo Switch that has just Zelda and Mario, or do I want to for 300, or do I want to spend 250, get a PS4 or Xbox One that comes bundled with 1 or 2 games plus their vast library of exclusives and multi-platform games? So they have to go up against that too.
So in the end, I'm skeptical. It's more I'm kind of observing for now. I think it's on a good path it's on a very bumpy path, but it's on it's a good but bumpy path. That's the way to describe it.
Yeah, for me, I don't know how it will go. I think that the defining moment for the Switch will really be Q4 this year, right? Because it's a shitty start. I'm not gonna lie. The launch could have been better, right? Because there's not much in the way of games that you can get.
I mean,
at
it was
this
good
moment.
enough to sell out Switches, and
then again, you have to keep in mind that the amount of Switches that they had available at launch is a lot.
Well, they were
less
limited, but you could tell that the demand, dude, on launch, it already sold most of what the Wii U sold in its entire lifetime.
I think that they made a risk, banking on Zelda, and it has paid off for now, right? I think that it's a matter of not losing steam until Q4, right? When the heavy hitters come, right? Then they'll have a respectable library of first person shooters. Dear God, first party titles. I'd love to see that.
They have to go
Switch,
they have to go
but-
up against stuff like Red Dead Redemption 2 if it does not get delayed and stuff like this.
Oh yeah.
They have some big games on the other systems to go up against.
It's like the holidays. We'll keep a close eye on the Switch as we get closer to the holidays, because like for me, like as somebody who's a sort of like an enthusiast of sorts when it comes to this kind of stuff, like I usually like seeing how tech sells during the holidays, and like I see the holidays as like a big obstacle you have to go over if you want to succeed. Like if your console can sell during the holidays, then you have a good start going for it.
It's not really an obstacle. I think it's opportunity, right? And what I will say,
by obstacle I mean like it's something they need to get past if they need to successfully pass in order to
definitely
start off the next year correctly.
When it comes to fall, they also have like this June to go up against Microsoft and Sony with E3, Project Scorpio, and all the new PlayStation games and Xbox stuff.
I'm not sure what the Switch's future holds, but I will say that it has a lot of potential. Whether or not Nintendo fucks up this potential remains to be seen.
They're really good. They're really good at doing that.
Yeah, they're very good. It's like a lot of their consoles had potential, right? I'm hoping it's going to be like the 3DS, where the launch was very rocky, but they managed to pull it around with the timely release of lots of first-party titles at the same time. That's
another
coming
big
in
savior
Q4.
of Nintendo handhelds is always Pokemon. They sell like hotcakes whenever they release
Yeah.
that. So the Switch doesn't have that as of right this second, and that's a system seller like unlike any
It's
other.
uncertain. Do you guys plan on buying the Nintendo Switch, or if you
No.
do have it, would you recommend it?
We asked that already.
Did we?
I do not think so.
Well, Joe
You
Joe
responded,
did say Joe
Joe
did
said
say
that,
but I'm
but
not
not
gonna
everyone
buy
else.
it. I'm not gonna buy it.
Even in the future, like after Q4.
Probably I'm the kind of guy that I waited. PS4 came out in 2012. I got my PS4 in 2015. I waited a solid 3 years. So I'll probably wait 3 years for Switch.
For the Switch, for me, it's like I know there's Zelda there, but be honest, I played Wind Waker, I played Ocarina, I played Majora's Mask, I played The Link Between Worlds on 3DS. And I like Zelda, it's cool, but I've never finished any of them because I play them for like 20 to 30 hours, and I don't know why, but every single time I get to like close to the end or something, I just like, I'm done. I've had my fill. So for me, Breath of the Wild, like that looks awesome. But I know after a while, I'll be like, I'm done. And Mario Odyssey, I love all the 3D Mario games, so that looks cool, but that's the only game I'm hyped for right now. Like Splatoon, I played Splatoon 1. It was cool, but not really. I don't really care for Splatoon that much.
I'm very disappointed because Xenoblade 2 isn't on your list.
I never played Xenoblade before, so.
I mean, it looks like it's going to be very different, so like maybe you'll be
it
able to play
looks
without
interesting,
having
but it's
played
like
the original.
Xenoblade is that kind of game. If I did buy the Switch, I would probably buy it, but it's not like I'm buying the Switch for it. Like right now, the only game that looks like I would like to Switch right now to play is Mario Odyssey. That looks cool, but it's like realistically, I'll probably wait till maybe sometime next year, see what's going on. Because right now, this year, it's like Mario Odyssey looks cool, and Xenoblade looks interesting. But that would be like if I had the system, I would buy it. But since I don't have it, I can wait forever for that. So the Switch for me, it's like who knows, maybe next year. If not, it'll be a year or 2 or 3, maybe. Who knows? Or if I have it, so yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
For me, I might be a bit optimistic here. I think I might buy Q4 depending on if the price drops. They might not do it because it came out a few months ago and they want to capitalize on a higher price, right? But if the price is reasonable, right, and there are sufficient titles, not just first party, but there are solid third-party titles on the Switch by December, then I'll get it. If not, then I'll most likely, the next point where I'll seriously consider getting a Switch will most likely be when Suda 51's No More Heroes sequel comes out. Because that's it's one game that I'm looking forward to, right? But like you said, Jordan,
I actually haven't played the No More Heroes series before.
It's a great
so
game.
good.
The thing is with No More Heroes, now I'm not sure whether it's going to be an exclusive because they re-released No More Heroes on PS3. So yeah, so it makes me think Are they just gonna release a PS4 version?
Well, Bayonetta was originally on Xbox and PlayStation, but they made Bayonetta 2 a Wii U exclusive.
We don't. That's the thing. Is it especially with No More Heroes? I have a feeling that Suda is not really gonna lock himself down with Nintendo.
He probably I bet you it's
Maybe
probably just came
multiplat.
up on the stage and announced it, for Nintendo hype.
It'll most likely be like multiplat or something.
Yeah, we'll see. Remains to be seen, right? But guys, it was a good discussion, and with that, we have to say farewell. But first, before that, what do you guys think about the Nintendo Switch and what we said in this episode? If you guys want to share your thoughts, then we all have Twitter, quite active, some more than others. We're busy, but we will try to respond. Anyone that's not Jordan who sends a message to Joe will get a response, essentially.
Goddamn liar.
That's what he's trying to say.
Like, I'll make sure like I see the responses and I'll see the messages you send me and I'll respond accordingly.
Joe Senpai will notice you. So what's your tag, or not your tag? Jeez, I'm playing too
Tag,
much.
hashtag.
What's your handle?
1-2 Switch Master Race.
What is your handle?
My tag is at Kibo Gamer, KIBOUGAMER.
I am at the Tempest Phoenix, the Tempest FENIX.
I'm at the Neo Taku.
I'm at Get Life Podcast. That is my Twitter handle, and it won't change really. So, one thing I did want to mention before we end this episode, check out our sponsors, Loot Crate. Big thanks to them. You can go to www.lootcrate.com/getalife for your Loot Crate. If you go to that link, it will bring you to Loot Gaming. If you use our /kunai link, it'll bring you to Loot Anime. Either one, it doesn't really matter. It all helps us in the end, right? And you can also check us out on our website, getlifepodcast.com. Yay!
All right, see you guys.